Word up.
You are now streaming.
Oh man,
We've
that's
got
it.
0 viewers, as my encoder says. Strength says we are online. Make sure everything else is muted. Um, if you go to my channel and want to watch the chat, feel free to. If not, I'll try to moderate as we go.
I'll definitely go.
Okay. Got some commenters
If
already. I was actually able to schedule this, and so it sent out a notification, I guess, ahead of time, because it seemed like some people popped into the stream as soon as that notification went out.
oh, wow,
So,
look at you being all professional,
hey,
man.
YouTube's getting fancy. I'm just trying to keep up. All right, so if you're in the stream, we would like to know if quality of everything sounds good. Can you hear us both?
Yo yo.
I don't have any deliberate delay on here, but I think it's normally about 30 seconds between when we say something and when YouTube sees it. So there's always a little extra bonus there.
Posting this on Instagram right quick.
Quality is good. We've got, I think I shall tweet it out.
Oh, you can hear all my tapping
I
on my
love
phone.
it.
I just popped open the stream. I was like, shit.
Yeah, you get the echo and everything. Cool.
All right, there it goes for Instagram.
Legalize heroin is our first outlandish comment.
Awesome.
There we go.
We're officially live if that's the
If
case.
that's the case, we've got... Alright. So, as a little introduction, I'm sure all of you guys are familiar with Mr. John Grimm. We're just going to be chatting it up, doing some art. He seems to already have a sculpture ahead of him. I've got some drawing utensils and whatnot, so we'll see what we get into. John, if you'd like to give a little shout out to yourself and tell people a little bit more about you, feel free.
For those guys who may not know, John Grimm do hyper-realistic oil painting as well as graffiti, and as of recently, some sculpture, which I'm not too amazing at.
Hey
but
man,
we're
it looks
trying.
pretty good.
Thank you, man. I'm trying. I'm busting my ass.
So is the wire in there for extra support? I assume
Yes.
it kind of droops quite a bit if you don't have anything in the center.
Yeah. This is certainly for extra support because, like you said, it would droop otherwise. Like I sculpted here. Let me go ahead. I sculpted this little guy,
Solid.
and he used to not have wire,
Okay.
and he was drooping all over the place. His limbs were breaking off. So with
Dang.
that, I learned like, oh, okay, gotta get that wire.
Nice. I haven't done much sculpting myself, but did a little modeling way back in the day, so got a little experience on 3D painting, I suppose.
3D is my kryptonite.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely the modeling too. It was like it didn't have any art background at all, so I was trying to make fine texture details and stuff like that, and stuff just blocked colors at the end of the day. But
Oh, I see Squaw in there. Squaw's a good friend.
nice.
Spencer is what it is on here.
You are well versed if you have names on both accounts across platforms. And now, will you have a back piece onto the clay to
Like
cover the wire, or is there a back panel?
yeah, that's what this is. That'll go right over the clay and I'll smooth it all out.
I assume that was your sketch because the quality, it looks just like a cutout piece of paper, but
Actually,
now you just have a cookie cutter.
if I can turn this, I don't know if you'll be able to see it too well on the camera, but
Okay.
there's multiple layers of this. The way this
Ah.
piece started off was exactly like what I just showed you, that thin layer.
Gotcha.
That's how the piece started off. And then I just pretty much laid this on top of, let me see if I can pull it up, on top of more flat clay and then cut around it.
Stenciled it out.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Because I have no idea what I'm doing and I couldn't do this otherwise.
So are you just kind of freeballing it and hoping that whatever technique holds true, and then
Pretty much, like I did a little bit of research and I ended up sculpting this, which is already done. Like
okay.
this is
I definitely saw that on
on Instagram.
Twitch. You were streaming it one night.
Oh,
I was
okay.
I was creeping.
Yeah, so oh shit, I see. But this will end up being the same as this, like
Right
as
on.
far as how it came out. So I'm not gonna add the texture though. All the texture is gonna be left out of this one. I want
S-
this one to be smooth.
Cool, cool. Will you fire it and all, or is
Yep.
that not necessary for this clay?
Yeah, I'm certainly gonna throw it in an oven
Mm-hmm.
and heat it up, bake it, let it get nice and hard. That can be taken out of context,
Oh, of course.
but once it's like that, then I'll be able to mold it and make reproductions of it.
Ah, that's the catch. I've always thought about making some casted stuff because
It's
you could probably get some pretty cool results, especially if you got a full piece on there.
Yeah, the hope is to one day do like a wild style, but I don't feel comfortable in sculpting
Uh-huh.
enough in order to do that.
To get the bases down there. Have you thought about what you might cast it in?
I have no clue.
No.
I have no idea.
I tried on a random hobby project casting some epoxy with some glow in the dark kind of pigment mixed in. That turned out pretty cool. Aside from the cast leaking quite a bit, and then a lot of sanding afterwards to get all that extra space uh, smoothed out to be the same as everything else. But that was pretty cool, and definitely not the first person to come up with that. I think I saw a thing on someone made a table where they sanded out a bunch of holes and whatnot, and kind of looked like almost a stream of neon blue epoxy throughout this tabletop, and
That's trippy.
yeah,
All right there.
pretty fresh. And then there's actually a guy out of Philly, Air Rat, that does these tags that are out of epoxy, and he'll paste them up or glue them onto street signs and whatnot, and they're pretty fresh. Definitely not
That's some shit.
quite the same size, but I assume he must do something similar because you got to have at least a 3D mold to start it off, and I don't know that they're. I suppose you could 3D print it if you really want to, but I don't know that there's much other way than modeling it by hand to get that first step out of the way.
Yeah, I have no idea. I know way too little about this in order to be like, oh yeah, no, that's totally how he did it.
Yeah, that was always the half-assed art lecture was anything modeling or clay oriented. It was more like the teachers, hey, give you a ball, make a plate, or do something fast that it doesn't really matter because they don't know much either, probably.
Yeah, yeah. They're just like, I just want my paycheck. Like,
Yeah.
come on, just do your assignment, please. Remember in high school, we had to sculpt an animal that the teacher assigned to us, and I got a frog. And I convinced the teacher. I mean, obviously she didn't believe me. She just, was done with my shit.
Yeah.
But I convinced the teacher that that turtles are just frogs with shells,
All right.
and and she let me sculpt that.
Solid. So did you go for a frog turtle, or did you just go for strictly a turtle at that
I
point?
went for a turtle. I was like, I'm trying to get an easy A here.
Yeah.
The frog is hard as shit.
Do you have good experiences with elementary or high school age art classes?
Oh God, no! I failed so many,
Ah, damn.
and fucking had yeah, I had like 3 great art teachers. The rest were complete and utter shit.
Mhm.
Which I guess 3 is more than what most people can say.
Yeah, probably.
far as
Honestly, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was pretty shit. One of the art teachers, I didn't have him, but he was always in the room
Mhm.
when we had art class. He just straight up was like, "Oh yeah, your art sucks. You'll never do anything with it." I'm like,
Damn.
"Oh, thanks. Appreciate that."
So were art classes required, or was it an optional thing?
In the beginning, in the more the elementary phase,
Yeah.
it was certainly required.
Yep.
But once you get into high school, it was much more of like, do what the fuck you
I
want.
hope the hard ass was in high school and not telling you this as a third grader.
Imagine. I mean, I did have a kindergarten teacher that I painted a cat purple in kindergarten.
Okay.
All right, I'm like 5 years old, whatever the case is, and she goes, she said something along the lines of how I failed and cats aren't purple, and she gave me a whole entire lecture and
Jesus.
pretty much told me I suck at art. And I'm like, oh, bitch. now I want to include a purple cat in my hyper-realistic painting and tell you to suck at it.
Look where it's come. I had similar. I guess I don't know. So art was required for your first year of high school, so everybody kind of got either placed in a version of an art class or got to pick which one they wanted to. So that, since they knew high schoolers weren't interested in art more or less, or had decided they weren't interested in art at that point, or were very interested, they decided to like make these kind of sorta art classes that were very open-ended. So teachers were, as long as you weren't misbehaving, were totally fine with whatever you came out with. So it was definitely accepting on that front. But for the same respect, since you weren't getting any, everybody was getting a fine grade, people would just dick around even that much more. So have you ever used that Paris craft stuff? It's like you kind of make it. I only reminds me of like a paper mache, but almost like a cast material. So once you get it wet, it's kind of sticky for a little while, and then once it dries, it turns into a really kind of plastery kind of stuff. But it comes on this huge rolls, and so if you do get it wet, it kind of dries, and then it's solid forever. Kids were pouring water bottles into like the dry stock of this stuff, and these boxes are like hundreds of dollars, and she's just like, well, now we don't have supplies for projects, and I can't trust anybody in the class anymore. So it was very accepting until the end of the year, when kids got really comfortable with misbehaving and took advantage in ways like that.
That sucks, man. Because if you think of it from the teacher's point of view, like they're just there trying to do a job.
Right.
Like,
And
they probably go home, they're like, "Fuck my life. My husband or wife is like cheating on me, and fucking kids are acting up."
Dude, and I mean, honestly, probably, she has that class maybe 2 times a week, and all the rest of her classes are probably very people that are more interested in art and aren't going to do that. But it's hell raises on Friday afternoon when you have all the freshmen that don't care to learn anything and are just there to like release their anger because they didn't get gym today instead.
So they just fuck around and ruin it for everybody else. That sucks.
Yeah.
Tell me you were one of the people with the water bottles pouring.
I might have watched it happen and kept my mouth shut, knowing what would have rained down. Yeah, definitely a watcher in high school. There was plenty of opportunity. In that class too, clay was thrown up onto the ceiling anytime that clay was out, and just seeing who could get the bigger splat up on the wall without the teacher noticing.
Oh my goodness, this is why I couldn't be a teacher.
Yeah, I mean the room too was like 2 stories tall because it was like a old garage bay. So it was like you definitely got a lot of range in there, and people quickly learned what they could test the waters and how far they could push the teacher without actually getting anybody called on her.
Right, that's rambunctious in there.
Yeah. But I'm certain that it was just because it was in place of gym that one day a week, and all those kids were looking for something to rouse up and get their same release instead of sprinting in circles for 20 minutes.
Yeah. Ain't that some shit? I sprint in a circle for 20 minutes, I'm gonna be in the ER. I'll be fucking dead.
No working out for you?
Not cardio, man. I can't run for shit.
Yes.
I'm fucking done.
I can't say that I like running much either.
I'll tell you what, there is no workout that makes me feel like I'm actually going to die, other than running.
Aside from actually working that hard out.
Yeah. Oh shit, says Alex. What's up, Alex? How you doing, man?
Yeah, lots of sheets and shits.
I'm seeing a couple people that I recognize from the Twitch streams.
Solid.
Puts a smile on my face.
Yeah. So how is Twitch compared to YouTube? Because
oh my goodness.
Anytime I pop over there, it seems to be healthy chat when it's just you solo, as well as it seems to be engaging on the front that you don't seem to be too bored with whatever you're working on.
Yeah, except for recently when I've been between paintings, but that's because I'm between paintings. Other than that, Twitch is amazing. Like honestly, no joke. Had I found out about Twitch, like had Twitch been around when I started YouTube, I would never have started YouTube. So I would have just stayed on
right
Twitch.
There, yeah.
Yep. Because I mean, you figure, and I don't know your feelings on this, but like on YouTube, we don't even have a fucking art category.
That has been a detriment since day one.
Yeah. So it's like, we're how many years into YouTube, we still don't have a fucking art category, and there's been multiple pushes for it.
Yeah, you think some of the makeup gurus would be able to help pull us into that category, or at least inspire it to, hit a trend a little bit more.
Yep, but nothing.
I love.
But on Twitch, at least they have creative, and it's a really healthy, really supportive community. Like you have people who start up creative. Let's just say someone started streaming right now. You would see people in there with like 20,000 followers, 30,000 followers in that new person stream, shouting them out, helping them out, and it's really supportive and friendly vibe over there. It's very very good community.
But not hostile. That doesn't sound like the internet.
Not in Twitch creative.
That's fun.
It's not too hostile.
That's cool.
You'll see it in my stream all the time. Like yesterday, I legit pretty much told somebody to go fuck off. But you'll get those people, which it's the internet, comes with the territory.
You get a sour apple every once in a while.
Yeah, but overall, Twitch creative is amazing.
That's good to hear. I've heard of, you say you would have just stayed there if you had started there, but I've heard of, these other websites popping up that are actually trying to pull YouTubers away that, have either vocalized their discomforts with, however, their channel's been managed or whatnot, and just try to make a more accepting environment for, whatever type of, audience you're trying to create or whatever type of content you're trying to, host. Because, needless to say, YouTube's great, but, a lot of, there are probably so many more views on Facebook and all the other social medias combined that you really have to do your due diligence if you want to capture, your views on everything.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested.
It's becoming harder.
Yeah, I think some of the future tools that help to push your content to 10 different platforms are going to be what really help to diversify individuals and diversify online content. But at the same rate, I wouldn't be able to keep up with comment sections on more than one platform.
Yeah.
I have a hard enough time posting to Instagram regularly, let alone reading comments on 2 or 3 different things all about the same video or same stream.
Yeah, it could be difficult to keep up with all that stuff for sure. And then I feel bad because like some people take it to heart when you don't comment back to them.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's like, oh well, I mean, yeah, I may have X amount on this one platform, but then I got X amount on this and this and this, and it adds up. Like
does.
I can't get back to everybody.
Yeah, I YouTube I'm consistent with. I can pretty much hit all those just because you can go through your feed and reply to everything in the same thread, and more or less you don't need much more information than what the comment is said to reply to it wholesomely. So
Yeah.
that's helpful at least. But yeah, God knows I have Twitter mentions that go unread for months, much like some of our messages.
Yeah.
It's just you can only keep up with so much, that's for sure.
Yep.
And definitely let alone personal like Instagrams and whatnot. Like I definitely never post anything like that just because of never find the time, it seems, to go back and moderate now a 3rd Instagram account or whatever. So
That's it.
definitely a
SIVE
bystander
stuff.
on many of the personal social medias.
Yeah, I really don't do shit on personal Facebook. I don't have a personal Instagram. Like my Instagram is my only Instagram.
Solid. Probably a better
And-
choice.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I don't live an exciting enough life to have another Instagram.
Oh, come on.
I sit at home and this is what I do all day. Like,
There you go.
This is it. So there's not really much else for me to post about. But I certainly could be better with like replying to people. I know my Facebook got fucked for a long time, where anytime I would load the messages,
Mhm.
the browser would crash.
That can keep you away from them, that's for sure.
Yep. So I haven't been able to reply to any Facebook messages for like over a year now. And it's
Damn.
like, well, I guess I'm never reading those ones. It's like shit.
Yeah, my Facebook is pretty much dormant. The times I have kept up with it are more for like I'll go through for an afternoon and just reply to every message that's on there and hope that I get back to enough people and that whatever they asked wasn't timely enough to keep you guys at bay. So we'll see if that changes or if there's an easier way to flush everything together. I don't know, do you watch Parks and Rec at all?
Have I watched what?
Parks and Rec?
I never heard of it.
It's Netflix, Amy Poehler and whatnot. But basically, the one scene that goes, a girlfriend needs to be in contact with the boyfriend at all times, so every social media is paired up, so they get like 12 comments anytime they're mentioned, or she wants to text them, it sends her one from Facebook, from text, from Twitter, so he gets 50 notifications to make sure he doesn't miss a single one.
Oh my god.
And I could see that
shit would drive me crazy.
Yeah, I could see that falling in place with some of these social medias, and trying to get everything all at once might just turn out to bite you in the ass instead.
Fundamentals. Oh man.
Probably hating on the skill already.
I read fundamentals, and immediately I think about people from the stream, because they kind of make fun of me with how much I mention fundamentals.
That's your go-to verbal filler that also works as like an art critique.
Yep. But you know what? It's like, I mean, they're 100% correct. But it's like, no matter how many times people ask a question, it always comes back down to, like they'll ask a simple question, oh, how do I get better? And, how do I add style? And it always comes back to the fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, there's no two ways around that. Like if you want to produce better quality artwork, then you have to learn the fundamentals. There is no getting around that.
Yeah, I feel like, myself included, you try to jump to your end goal and what you make, and then you kind of work your way back with, all right, that didn't work, how can I relearn how to draw 3D because this 3D looks like ass. And I feel like until you get bit enough times and actually want to go back and learn those fundamentals, it's so rare I even have the discipline the first time around to not try and just jump ship and, all right, let's see if I can do it, and if not, oh well.
Yeah, I mean, my first 6 years of graffiti was exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
Me not doing the fundamentals and just trying to do wild styles. I mean, that's 6 years of sucking ass.
and not learning much along the way, just retrying the same thing.
Pretty much. Pretty much. So, like when I tell people, oh, practice the fundamentals, is because I'm thinking back to my 6 years, and I'm like, I could have shaved off all of those 6 years had I just fucking sat my ass down and practice some basic straight letters and shit like that.
Yeah, I think that goes with so much in life. Like you could pretend to learn, or you could sit down and really try to learn for what everything means, or like a topic in school, or art itself. If you learn why things work and how they work, and truly for everything that it is, you actually have that knowledge rather than just kind of haphazardly applying. These colors kind of look good together just because, or anything along those lines.
Facts.
More fundamentals, though. You got to have the fundamentals of motivation to get to the fundamentals of art. So it's a vicious cycle.
Very few have that motivation.
Seriously.
Or so it seems.
Yeah.
So what do you have? Like what is in the pipeline for Mr. SIVE over there?
So, new T-shirt coming out soon. Definitely trying to film the lookbook for it. Hoping to get that out there. It might be something along the lines of a stipple fat cap tag. Something, a style you might have seen online before, but tried my hand at it. Came out pretty cool.
Word.
Yeah, that's more of a traditional project. I've obviously made T-shirts before, so as far as unique projects, I've been interested in maybe doing some 3D modeling, maybe graffiti, maybe just random stuff online, but I don't really know. I have a lot on my plate as far as work and school goes, so definitely don't have too much crazy new projects coming out, but T-shirts kept me busy. Videos and reviews have kept me plenty busy, trying to work in some new content that's definitely a little bit different than the traditional speed arts and whatnot that I have been doing. Trying to branch out and do more of the tutorial and review style stuff that seems to be doing well on the channel.
Yeah, your reviews are fucking dope as shit.
Thank you. The work hours that go into them are not net positive with how much I return from them, but they I like to put out a crisp, clean project because I feel like
It fucking shows.
yeah, if in the end, like especially for reviews, most of the time I'm doing it for somebody or a product. So if I can show their product in the truest of lights and not have crummy video quality holding that back, that's a very honest way to go about it. Because I would hate for somebody to send me something and then the quality of my video sucks but the content's great. Well, that's still going to look bad on their product even though it works well. So
Yeah.
I try to have high quality for everything that I do, and I hope that gives my videos a little bit more longevity. So I mean, if there's a YouTube algorithm out there that degrades low quality videos in 5 years that aren't 1080p, hopefully I can stay ahead of that curve. And if not, I'm just slower at editing because my computer can't keep up with it all the time.
Editing has legitimately made me want to become a time traveler to
Oh,
murder
jeez.
my computer in the past. I fucking hate editing.
And I
so
assume
much.
that goes towards some of your interest in Twitch. It's all, once and done. You put the 2 hours in, you make a big block of content, you can get the same message across, and,
I'm not gonna lie. It's all we talk about is penis and sex.
Oh, so that's why you like doing it.
Yep, that's
Hey,
it.
the
You
truth
got
can
me.
come in many colors. You can be honest.
There's that's all we do over there. It's awesome. It's amazing. I typically stream for like a good 4 hours because I don't know the science behind it,
Hmm.
but I've heard multiple big streamers talk about how you don't want to stream any less than 4 hours because of something with the Twitch algorithm. Um,
Okay.
so I streamed 4 hours because I didn't do my own research to see why.
You
So I
just
just
trust
do
it and keep that eyes
Yeah.
blind.
Yep, pretty much. And on some days I stream for how many hours? I don't know. Something like 12 hours, I think.
Wow.
Because I do it's take give or take
Mhm.
because I stream from 2:30 to 8:30, from 10:30 to 2 in the morning.
Wow.
So whatever that comes out to.
Okay.
I can't do math. I never went to college,
I trust you
despite
for
this
it.
basic condition.
Yeah, I mean that is the biggest detriment that I find too is that it might take me only 3 or 4 hours to put an entire video's content together, but editing could be another 8 at least with audio and cutting video down, going back through footage. So I've been trying to think of creative ways to film more efficiently as well as edit faster and get the right video clips where they need to be without it kind of looking haphazard.
Yeah.
And I don't know that there's a great solution to that. I've gotten at least a little better. I tend to write scripts now to try and, or at least bullet points to cover, and then kind of freely talk about the content that might be in a review or might be in a background of a speed art. So that helps, but just going through the videos and whatnot, it just takes so goddamn long.
Yep. Yep.
And that YouTube money they talk about is it's there, but there's not a lot of it. So
I'll tell you what, man. YouTube is fucking hard. Like, I don't know. I don't know about YouTube and art. It's hard. It's
Yeah,
hard as shit.
you don't think it's got the longevity to last?
Well, I mean, all right. So tell me if you've noticed the same thing, or if you agree with what I'm about to say, because I mean, maybe you know something else that I don't know. I look at like big gaming channels. I look at big fashion channels, makeup channels, prank channels, blah blah blah, and there's a shit ton of all of them.
Yep.
And they're all big. You have like 10 big prank channels, 10 big whatever of this, and 10 big of whatever of that. You look at art, and there's like three
Okay.
that broke 1 million subscribers.
I probably
For the
don't even
most-
follow them. I probably don't even know who you're talking about. Like that's how much it sucks.
Right? So that just speaks to my point. Is like there's not many massive art channels, and it's even more so that there's not many graffiti large ass channels over many I can't fucking speak over 1 million subs.
Mhm.
So I mean, this goes back to YouTube not having a category for us, but art certainly doesn't get the same amount of views or the same amount of attention that it once did. Because you had people like, I think his name was Brustpup, where back then in the earlier days of YouTube, more or less when you and I started, art was getting more views
Yeah,
than
it
it is
definitely
now.
was pretty popular, or at least
Yep.
it was
So
well supported. I'll agree.
yeah, you know, you would see more art in the front page. I remember my very first subscriber on YouTube was Pacific Pastime, and she had 15,000 subscribers at that time,
Hmm.
and she got those because she was on front page. Now, how often do you see art on the front page of YouTube these days?
Well, unless it's a craft on how to decorate cupcakes, never.
Right? So, you know, the art just is not supported nearly as much on YouTube as it used to be. You know, be it from actual YouTube itself or from, I don't want to say the viewers because we have a lot of people that do come back to our content,
Yes,
but
thank you.
just
That support is tremendous.
it is. But, you know, people in general, the people that just are on YouTube constantly, art isn't really on the forefront.
Hmm.
So it's hard as shit to you know make that quote unquote YouTube money with art because it's just not supported.
So I think, like we talked about the timing, so with art, unlike a lot of the projects on YouTube, you have the time to make the art, which could very well be hours and hours, and with some of your fine paintings, it could be, days and days and
Months.
days. So that time commitment for 2 videos, 3 videos, like how many can you actually squeeze out of that process, and then what's the value for those videos for YouTube? Well, now you're a channel that uploads once a week. They're going to support a vlog channel that can upload 4 videos a day that are documenting your daily events a lot easier, because they're valued as, oh, they can get this many more people to the website. Because YouTube, they sell ads. And well, now they're doing premium content, but more or less they sell users being on their website, and they get kickbacks for how many people they get here. So it is kind of a monopoly on whoever can get the most people in will also generate the most support from YouTube, because it's a win-win for all of them. And with art specifically, if we're only bringing so much to the table, they're only going to want to help us X amount.
Yep. And that shit sucks. But it's a matter of like adapting and all that, you know, coming out with new content
Definitely.
that meets the algorithm. But that's always easier said than done.
Hey, I actually was fortunate enough to have a conversation with somebody at YouTube about the new algorithm, and it surprised me quite a bit about some of the things I should have been doing that they're now supporting and are helping videos that more or less don't mean anything about your own video. It means about every other video that's on the page, and how other videos are linking to your video, and are you catching people to stay on YouTube for 2 hours? Because if so, now you're more important than somebody that just clicks away from the video. So
Sure, then that's it. That's it. You heard it here, guys. First, I gotta get a wig and a boob job.
there you go. We can keep you on the video for 10 seconds longer. YouTube likes you more.
Yep, and then you guys will hear my voice and be like, "Oh shit, not a real girl."
I think you could mask that. It's not too deep.
Do my best.
Yeah, I saw something creepy the other day online that was like, any website you don't pay for, or any service you don't pay for, you're what's being sold on that website. And YouTube's, very, forward about that being the sole thing that drives it, is, the users and its interactions on here are what's able to keep all those programmers afloat and all the infrastructure afloat. So whether it's Snapchat that's selling your locations to map services, or it's YouTube trying to sell you shampoo, everybody's trying to make $1 off your seemingly free interaction with all of our content. The
That's
ad
the way
world,
of the future.
yeah, the ad world is vicious.
Yeah.
But much like everything, you hope it kind of ebbs and flows, and we're working the kinks out now, and maybe down the road it'll be a little bit smoother, and people will be better supported by the time and effort that they put in.
Yeah. Like Twitch, they worked out the kinks.
Yeah,
There you
it
go.
seems like everybody has good things to say, and it seems like they're more open with what you can produce on there, and They at least got categories down. You'd think that'd be so easy. Add one damn category to the website.
Right? I'm not asking for like, hyperrealism, abstract, this, that, and the other thing. Like just art. That'll be fine.
4 letters. It doesn't even have to be arts. It can just be 3 letters. Art. Period. Who knows?
Hello, Anthony. How are you, man? Every now and again, I'll glance at chat.
Someone's referencing Green Ranger from Art Primo. Do you get the chance to watch any of their videos?
I've seen like a couple, and no joke, I like Green Ranger.
He's a funny character. Yeah, I like him.
He's pretty chill.
And he seems to have the wealth of old school knowledge. That anytime, like, he'll mention something in a video, and he'll be like, "Yeah, no shit, it works like that," and I'll be like, "Never would have thought of it." But he just, definitely got all the timelessness to his expertise.
I would love, to sit down and talk with him, just like on a one-on-one sort of deal, because at least in real life, and this is specific to real life, experience, and maybe even some online. But I feel like a lot of graffiti artists don't think about the science behind graffiti, and I feel like he does.
Okay.
So having a conversation about that sort of thing would be very, very fun to have with somebody with like you said, with the timelessness that he has.
Yeah, definitely be able to pick the brain of things that I guarantee somebody that has been enveloped in a culture or a community so long, you lose touch with some of like the nuanced stuff that you might take for granted and those skills. So when stuff comes out in conversation, you're able to find those strange tricks or tips that might die with that person if it's not captured.
More facts.
More facts. Need some animations on here anytime some knowledge gets dropped.
There you
go. Dan Garcia says there's no science to art.
Oh, that couldn't be further from the truth. I hope that's a joke.
I think that there's got to be some science. So if we define science as repeatable truths, you think you can continually make awesome art?
The way, and this may come off as like a douche thing to say, but I mean, truth is truth. If someone truly believes that there is no science about art, then they don't know enough about art. It's broken down that simple. Just plain, got you. I figured that he may be just trolling us, but you always want to throw it out there just in case.
Hey, it opens the conversation to elaborate a little bit more. Because I feel like, even just visually, there's, certain tricks and tools that are continually more visually appealing to humans in general, let alone,
like some symmetry, for example.
Definitely.
Like humans have eye orgasms for symmetry.
Oh, yeah. There's, what is it, the golden ratio with the kind of shell swirl, all that kind of stuff is... I'm definitely not super versed on exactly what all the nuances of that are anymore, but there are specific ratios and rectangles and shapes in general that generally just are far more appealing to people to look at, or anything that maintains that aspect ratio just sits better with our field of view.
And not only that, I mean, even if you just look at the elements of art, which, like, the elements of art are written in stone. There is no denying the elements of art. And these are the fundamentals that every single art form follows.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the elements of art, and right there, you already have science. So when I hear, because, I'm sure you see it in the comments, I certainly see it in mine, where people are like, oh, graffiti has no fundamentals. It's like, well, how are you going to sit there and tell me that when the elements of art apply to all art forms, even graffiti? Yeah. As a result, graffiti has fundamentals. No argument.
Yeah, I mean, and especially since it's, a lettering structure, there's obviously a backbone to, the words and everything that have meaning too, but then, their weight and their organization isn't haphazard. There's obviously some design elements that need to go in to make them look good, and you can't obviously draw anything and make it look visually appealing, so there's got to be some reason why some things are and some things aren't.
Yep. Like Taki183 said, in a documentary that I can't quite remember. You gotta lose the letter without losing the letter.
I like that.
I guess everybody here is 14 years old. Damn. Damn, somebody young taking shots. Damn.
So that new spot you've been painting at, is that a garage oriented?
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's the good old garage, man. All right. So me and Sub were talking a little bit before the stream, and
Spoilers out. We talk shit before we start.
Sub had said that he liked the red and black piece that I did on the garage wall, and just to get into that a little bit more, like, it's common knowledge among my community that I'm rusty as shit. Like, I went from painting on walls for like a solid 10 years to cold turkey not painting for a while. And, you know, I was able to do like a wall here and a wall there, but they were separated by like a year's gap sometimes. So I became extremely rusty with like hand control and all that stuff. And that piece, I actually fucked up the structure of the G on that, and I was super disappointed by that. And I mean, I like the piece overall, but I was like, damn, I know I can do better than this, and I just can't do it right now. I'm too damn rusty.
Mm-hmm.
But as of recently, I feel like I'm getting the rust off. It's still there. It's still like slightly there, but it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. So we're making gradual improvements.
That's awesome to hear. I mean, it's one of those things, you know, you can only be so good and you'll lose so much skill as time progresses that if you don't keep the, you know, gears turning, you're going to have to come back and start at ground one again.
Yep, pretty much.
I haven't gotten out much at all this summer. I painted a couple weekends ago a mini canvas with a tool that allows you to paint very small. It may be a repeat video on my channel with some new product, but aside from that, I've been out of my normal workspace, so I haven't been able to paint much large scale, which is a shame.
Are you still in PA?
Temporarily, no. Temporarily down in DC for the summer. So didn't bring the wall with me to my uncle's house.
Damn. Or are you going to be coming back to PA?
Yeah.
That's the next question.
So yes, mid-fall. So end of September, I'll be back in the glorious area. So I know we've mentioned it before, but yeah, we definitely should get a painting session together.
We should. There is no reason why we shouldn't.
For those that don't know, there's probably less than 30 miles between me and Grim over the past 5 years. So.
And I fucking ditched you.
Hey,
I'm sorry. I still feel bad about that.
No worries, dude. One reason or another, you know, people are busy. Lively things come into play. So, maybe this fall we'll be able to finally make a collab together.
That'd be dope. I feel like I don't know if you know of him. I recently just found out about him. I recently just been watching his content. Kipto, I think his name is.
Can't say I'm familiar with it off the top of my head.
The dude's got some crazy dope work, and he seems like a really nice, chill, humble guy.
What?
And
you keep talking. I'll Google and see if I recognize him, because there's a new channel that I'd like to shout out to.
So like I feel like, you know, I would just to make a long story short, I would love to do a wall with Kipto. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
How do you spell his name?
Kipto.
Not PTOE?
It might be PTOE. I've only recently started watching him. Okay. I don't quite remember.
Okay, I think I saw his stuff. It might even be on Reddit. I recognize the first video I see here as something a thumbnail I've seen. I definitely don't follow him, but this looks like a lot of animal illustrations.
The walls I've seen, yeah, he's got. I think he just did one that has like a lion.
Okay. Yep. Definitely. Yeah, these look pretty impressive.
That's pretty dope.
Nice. Yeah, there's this guy goes by Slew, Slew. He emailed me trying to collab, and I obviously had to give the silent no, because don't have enough time to do every collab, let alone any, seeing as I don't post any on my channel. But he posts some pretty sweet murals, and then also seems like he just recently moved into a loft with a guy that makes some music, so they've been doing some kind of goofy collab videos between music and art. So
It's pretty dope.
yeah, it definitely seems like the more personable side that I assume YouTube trends to do well with. You get a little bit of personality in there. It adds a lot of quality to the video content. So definitely some new and emerging stuff coming out.
Yeah, that's always exciting. That's always
Keeps us
some
on our
good
toes
shit.
too. Makes us reconsider the formula that has worked for so long or hasn't worked for so long, and try to keep up with trends or progress new trends in ways we like better.
Yeah. Making that YouTube money. Gonna be like Jake Paul in a second.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's it.
I clearly missed the wave on that, because I only saw like some of the things that happened afterwards and watched like a recap video because I kept seeing the name, and goddamn did like seemed to just go up in a firestorm, everything about that situation.
Oh man, I don't want to derail from art too much.
No.
So I'm not gonna give my 2 cents. I think it's pretty clear.
Teenagers living crazy fast and making YouTube videos while they do it.
Yep. Ain't that some shit?
Yeah, someone's got to do it. I'll live and watch and laugh, and seems like pop culture gets enough fun off of it that it's worth something to somebody.
Slew is so underrated. I stumbled upon his channel a while back.
Solid. Yeah, his YouTube channel's Create for a Cause, but if you just Google SLEW, you'll definitely find him. He's got pretty much weekly videos. He's been pretty active recently, and it was
That's
funny
awesome.
because he was he was posting 5-6 years ago, and I recognized his barn in the background of one of the videos when he had messaged me, and I was like, yeah, totally remember your stuff, and he's like, yeah, totally kind of shifted styles a couple times and is doing some new stuff now, but goes to show if you put the time in, or if you keep making quality content, YouTube will let you upload still. So kind of a numbers game again.
Yeah. It seems to be like the theme of tonight is like YouTube and art.
Yeah, we can move along if people are getting bored with it.
Oh, that's something I could talk about all day.
It's pretty much all I do. I get off work and come hang out on YouTube editing videos or watching others.
Pretty much. I spend. I mean, I've been saying this all night, but I spend a lot of my time on Twitch nowadays. I watch like YouTube videos every now and again, but most of my time I'm spending watching streams and shit.
Now, I can't say I've ever gotten into the fondest of watching streams, but I am guilty of listening to podcasts quite a bit.
All right. I was telling some people from Twitch about how you and I are going to be doing a little bit of a collaboration soon and blah 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 blah, and I didn't know what to call it. I was like, is this a podcast? Is this like what is this?
I think this falls closest in line with the podcast. I mean, granted, there are ranges of podcasts from like strictly just interview based to conversations and or even like more research and journalism stuff. But I mean, more or less, I feel like anything that's conversation based is fine to be new form radio broadcast as just a podcast.
Gotcha, because this is dope, and we've talked about this before, but I saw the BTA when you started the stream, and I don't know if it's still up there now because I have the chat
Certainly is.
like pretty much all over the screen, and that was always like one of my favorite series from you.
Yeah, that was started as, I can't even remember if it was me or one of the other couple guys I started it with, but way back when, just wanted to try it out, and for some reason it got good reception, and then I think it fell off just because some of the guys I made it with were falling off of art and graffiti in general, but it seemed to work out well and people enjoy it. I definitely like the longer form stuff too. A little easier to get my ideas out and whatnot.
For sure. I feel like if at all possible, because a podcast is always something that I've been interested in doing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, starting up myself. But I as you can see, because I didn't even know what this was, as you can see, I don't know much about podcasts. So
I could fill you in with what I listen to. I mean, most of the stuff I listen to is interview based, so they'll have a guest on and pretty much just talk about, you know, what brought them to where they are in their life. You know, they obviously try to pick someone that's had an interesting, at least end result to where they are, whether they're, you know, leading business ventures or they're, you know, breaking headway in some new technology. So that's, you know, the baseline of the guest, and shoot the shit for a couple hours and call it a day. Sometimes it is more, you know, friend comment oriented, so they're just comics hanging out and shooting the shit and talking about random things or pop culture and news, but kind of a lot of free form stuff and just let things ride. And a couple hours later it ends and, you know, people unclip or get out of autopilot and, you know, go along their day.
that's some shit. Because I'll tell you what, I enjoy. Like I don't listen to too many podcasts. The only podcast I really listen to is Philip DeFranco podcast when he comes out with one, and the Rooster Teeth podcast. Which I haven't really listened to in a while, but it was always one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really it, and that was kind of like the inspiration behind, like, oh, I would like to try my hand at that, but I never just like delved into it. And I feel like you, if anybody, at least in the art scene on YouTube, I feel like you would probably do it the best because you've done it the longest.
I think I humor the idea time and time again, and I think I would like to try to do at least a monthly thing from now on, just for the sole reason that, you know, you do get a couple hours in to get a lot of information out and a lot of conversation to be had, and, you know, that's helpful for us as well. You know, we can kind of work through different ideas that we have and shoot the shit around them, and then, you know, it also provides some differing content that I think supports well in the art scene, because, you know, 10 minutes is only so great for a video, as well as, you know, got a lot of shit to say, so you can always wrap that in. So I definitely wouldn't mind trying it out, and I've had friends in real life try to pressure me into starting ones with them, and, you know, probably should browse that idea as well under other aliases, but I think maybe I could be a radio broadcaster as a side gig.
There you go. Watch that. That's gonna end up like being what makes you the crazy bucks.
Hey,
it'll be like the path that you never saw coming.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I don't mind talking and hashing out ideas, but, you know, definitely got to make the quality content or the quality comments on whatever we are talking about. So definitely be a bigger researcher on topics, more or less, than saying, "Hey Grim, do you want to hang out and let me draw stickers and talk banter about YouTube for a little while?" It's definitely easy form when we don't do it too often. It's a lot of pull on.
Man, I am always down to hang out and talk YouTube banter for a couple of hours.
Good fun.
while we just fucking say nonsensical shit.
Honestly. So now that piece you have in the background, that was a pretty fresh one too.
This is what this was sculpted after.
Okay.
This was the sketch. I did a series for Sketchbox where I made tutorials for them, and this was pretty much like the blueprint for that sketch.
Right on.
And then I decided, it'd be pretty cool in order to sculpt this. So that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah,
we're sculpting.
2 for 1.
Yeah.
Now those brush paint markers, the brush tip paint markers that you were using.
Yeah.
How nice were those? Because I hadn't even heard of them until I saw your video.
Where is it? That blue one?
Yeah,
is
the light
dope.
blue.
I like that shit. It comes out super opaque, and if I had it, I don't know where the hell it is. Somewhere in this room. But if I had it by me, I would show you. It's extremely opaque, and it writes so smooth. Like, the brush isn't one of those super stiff ones that have like they're not going to really shift position too
Yeah, I was
well.
gonna say that because that must be hard to pull the paint in there. But then it had that weird knob on the back that just pumped it crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It
What?
was I don't know. I've never seen that brush pen before,
Yeah,
or that
yeah,
brush marker before. It was really good though.
definitely hadn't heard of it myself.
I was certainly a fan.
Do you think there are budding technologies for art that'll change it quite a bit? Do you think new brushes and new markers are gonna revolutionize or just help
I don't
out?
know. I think if anything, as far as new technologies for art, I think it'll go more towards the VR side
Yep.
as opposed to like new brushes or whatever. I mean, because you know what, like horsehair and synthetic, and all that shit has
Hmm.
been around for God knows how long. More so the actual natural hair than synthetic, but you get the point. Like that stuff has been around for a while because it works.
Yep.
So if they ain't broke, I don't see them changing it. And maybe they'll come out with something new. I don't know if it'll stick though, but I think VR art has a lot of. It's a real like seductive idea for artists. I think because they get to create what they love in a new way that they've never seen.
Yeah, the immersive quality is crazy. I wish I
Yeah,
had the money for a VR setup.
I've been saving up. I've been saving up in secret
Nice, good choice.
because I would love to, but and honestly, it's all for that fucking game, King Spray.
Oh yeah, 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 I've seen ads on it. I'd love to get my hands on it too.
I'm like, man, that shit looks too fun.
Yeah, as long it could be B grade, it could be a really crummy quality, but if I could get in there and pretend to practice for free, like I don't have to pay for cans anymore. Now we're
Yeah.
talking.
That's pretty much the same idea as like, oh, I don't have money for cans at the moment. All right, well, let me hop on this
Oh, I
and
could pay
see if
10
I
cents for
can.
electricity.
Yeah, King Spray is lit. I would love to
I'm
try it.
jealous if you've tried Supernova.
Yeah,
I
Supernova. If you tried, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be jealous.
I so I was watching this video from a concert, and the guy that was doing the big DJ concerts with the crazy visuals and big light shows and whatnot, they were live mixing with a Vive setup. So he would have probably 10 or 15 different functions on the wands, and then depending on his gesture and button combination, much like I guess a SmackDown in Mortal Kombat, you could produce different things into the 3D atmosphere, and then it would show that on the screen in front of the audience.
That's fucking trippy.
So yeah, and it was a lot of geometric and pretty kind of universally interesting shapes and colors and lots of neons and whatnot. But hell, that was like if someone's able to program that half-heartedly right now, if we can just bump the quality up and add some pretty cool transitions, now we're gonna have live performers that are more visual oriented than just music. So I
Yeah,
think that would be cool.
yeah. I'm kind of hoping the whole entire the hell's it called? The 3D art
Hmm.
shit will pop
I think
because I'm excited for
it's
it.
got a lot of entertainment value. So I think that let alone animation studios and whatnot, but on a more consumer level, I think it's gonna have at least some staple in the next round of entertainment, just because it is way more available to everybody involved.
Yeah,
Because I mean, if me and you are close to being able to immerse ourselves in VR, 10 years down the road, it's gonna be very, very affordable or acquirable for everybody. So if you
yeah.
can design
Much more accessible.
if you can design a 3D immersive piece of art and sell that to somebody, you know, that'd be a pretty cool experience.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if people would pay, but
Oh, people will pay for anything.
always worry about that later.
It's like there was a social media that was made specifically for rich people. I think you had to like put down $300 to actually make a
Oh
profile,
Jesus!
and that did pretty well. So I mean, if people are willing to pay for that, I'll be damned if they don't pay for some interactive or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Some immersive
Just
art.
don't show them what the inside looks like until they get there, and then I saw this. It was a meme. It said it was an app, and it said, "I'm rich. and there was like no description, and it was just like, $1 million on the App Store, and had a picture of the guy as the icon. And it was like, all right, so he gets rich when one person buys this. Or it might have even been, how to get rich off of one app, and just his face in there.
I wish I would have thought of those ideas.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's like, I don't know if you follow him, the Peter Draws guy on YouTube.
Name is extremely familiar. I know if I were to see his work.
He does these very strangely, like, poetic videos where he kind of talks, haphazardly about stuff, and it really doesn't make any sense. It's very incoherent, but it's somewhat poetic because it is so incoherent, and he makes these really cool illustrations and drawings while he goes. But he did a fundraiser for art research to buy one box of Bic pens, so it was like $7, and then, but he obviously, people thought it was so funny, he ended up getting like, I don't know, maybe $200 or $300 just for his art research. And he was, the video he made for it, everybody knows his character. They knew he was just gonna buy it and make some funny videos off of it, but it was just like, stuff like that, people get a joke out of it. They're way more committed to it.
Yeah. That's I wish I knew a way to be entertaining and funny in that sense, because that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope.
It's a very dry humor, and he, that I would have to start that persona 20 years ago if I would want to be nearly as funny as him. But it's definitely, he works it well, and he's definitely got maybe almost half a million subs on YouTube. So he's definitely pretty well known in the finer art section. But that brings us back to the same point. If you don't know about him, and he's one of the more popular ones in my book, God knows that YouTube's screwing something up there.
Yeah.
That's another thought I had is, I used to be able to make a lot of kind of community-oriented stuff with all the sticker trades I was able to do. Because that brought a huge, aspect of, here are some upcoming artists, anybody can send stuff in. And as well as I get to trade stuff around, so... what was that?
I said, what happened to those videos, if you don't mind?
It was just timing. I just didn't have enough time to trade myself, so I stopped, trading personally with other artists. I didn't have, nearly enough work to send out to other people. And then the more community stuff that was a little bit of everybody, that anybody could send in. I let my P.O. box run out, and the videos were doing okay, but they weren't doing great. So I didn't want to, drop another $80 on a P.O. box for the next 6 months. So I kind of slowly had to let them die. But I don't know, it seems to be, there's somewhat of a revitalized interest. I get maybe a comment a week saying, can I still send in, or can I check these out? So maybe I'll try and get, at least a short form version done to see if there's still interest in something like that. Because it was fun to, see what other people are doing and show them off and make a little commentary about some of that artwork. But then you obviously have the other side to it, that a lot of the artists are beginner, so that people on there that just want to ridicule and rip people apart in the comments, and they totally miss the point of the video. But whatever.
Yeah, that's never what you want in a community show.
No, sir.
Or in any show. I feel like a community art show, at least with my experience, is pretty hard to do. Like, it's not something easy to pull off.
What's not easy to pull off? I missed the beginning of that, sorry.
I feel like a community art show is pretty difficult to pull off.
Yeah, because you can only talk about art for so long, right? Like, very specifically, like if we were to sit here and critique a piece, you might only be able to stay interested in that for, maybe under a minute. You've done your visual digestion, and then, you can move along. So, I think that's probably a detriment too. Like, I don't know how other people watch videos, but, clicking through them pretty fast just to see the end product is probably pretty common with art videos, so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've done it to my own videos.
Oh, I actually try to use that as like a little tool to say, all right, if I'm skipping at this point, I definitely know everybody else is going to skip, so let's
Yep.
cut that out and see how we can move forward.
Make that shorter. Let's not let that play for too long. Let's fucking replace that with this other more interesting thing. And
Hmm. Do you have, so in your video making process, do you review and go back and try stuff new, or is it pretty much, watch the final critique, and if that's good enough, we'll move forward and try to get to the next video? And
that's pretty much more or less what it is.
Mhm.
It's a lot of like, all right, I already have an idea for this video and the way it's gonna be shot. Let me shoot it in that way. And sometimes that's go back and to reshoot things. I mean, it happens.
Yep.
But I shoot the video, and then when it comes to editing, I'm like, all right, let's piece these together the way I had planned. Let's see how it works, and I'll rearrange if necessary, and if not, then we're all good. And I'll rewatch the video. If it gets boring, I cut it out.
Yeah, I
Simple
probably
as that.
rewatched mine once maybe to make sure that at least I hit all the points I wanted, and then I didn't drag one part out for too long, or one part isn't too dominant in the bigger scheme of things. But it's rare that I actually get a chance to scrap a project and start fresh, because I kind of justify this as a big learning tool. Is that, like, if you go through a project and then delete the whole thing and start over, you're forcing yourself to relearn and only take the best versions of that first iteration into your next trial. Because if if you learn it once, you might have first impressions or first reasons for doing something, and then if you force yourself to do it a second time from scratch, only the best of those ideas are probably going to be worthy of your time a second time around. Like, you're not going to bother making something that's crummy if you're forced to do it a second time.
Yeah.
So I wish I had that opportunity for whether it be video editing or hell, a little bit more of a video production project, but I don't know that I've ever really had that chance to scrap something and consider I have enough time to do an entirely new version.
If you figure that's like you said, that's time consuming as shit. And you figure if you got other shit to do, then fucking going out and restarting is a bitch. Like, I've had to do that for back when I used to do digital painting. I've had to restart projects from scratch.
Oh, jeez.
And that, I mean,
like, you lost the file, or was it
like, I didn't
the
save the
perspectives
damn,
just suck?
and it fucking crashed on me, and I gotta start from scratch. And it's like, granted, it's good practice because I gotta redo all these details and redo all this and get all the accuracy, blah 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 blah. But nobody wants to do it.
Yeah. I really didn't enjoy this painting that much to start it over.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a good learning point, though. Like, you obviously already had, the movements of everything that you went through the first time, so second time around you hopefully were a little bit more in tune with, all right, this needs to be done now because I need to get this perspective or this shading correct before I move along to the next piece, because I know that needs to happen and I already did it once, so
Yeah.
let's get it right this time. Let's really learn it for the right reasons.
Simple can be most effective, Skiz. Oh, hi, Skiz. How you doing, by the way? Simple is well. You know what? I think that's a good topic. If you don't mind jumping into that real quick.
Take it as we go.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Like straight letters versus wild styles.
So they're definitely, two different, I would almost consider, categories entirely of graffiti. So even though they both, take the more complex route, if you're going to make a straight letter, it's going to have to take, a lot more refinement. You can't hide anything in the straight letter. Your contours are totally built on the fact that there aren't contours. So if one line is off, it's really going to be suggestive for the rest of the piece. You're going to either have too much weight in an area or not enough weight in another. So I think straight letters and the simple style, when there are imperfections, they're glaring far more. That being said, wild styles, since you can put a lot more detail into them, you're able to add detail where there might not naturally be detail, to not necessarily every time cover something up, but build weight in different ways, because lettering's all about the percentage of the page that each portion takes up and how the overall piece is composed. There's far rarely, even if you are doing background information or background stuff, that is all secondary to the letters themselves. So if you are doing a wild style, you have more of that secondary stuff to help boost up or fill in and adjust things. But if you are to strip things down and make it that super simple tag, when the core is offset or the core is in need of some help.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much summed that one up.
Would you say that you'd have an easier time doing a straight letter or a more wild style?
I mean, all right. Let me go ahead and start by saying I am the world's slowest artist when it comes to anything.
Good to know.
So I will take super long doing literally anything. With that said, I personally prefer straight letters over wild styles because it and I see this again and again and again with people who've been doing graffiti much longer than I've been alive. Like, it takes a lot more skill to do a dope straight letter than it does to do a crazy wild style, because of the fact that you can hide so much in a wild style. Like you said, not to say that everything you do in a wild style is for the purpose of hiding, but when you're just learning wild styles and you're doing them, quite frequently, and you're just getting into this new style, you tend to hide quite a bit, which everybody does it. No need to take shame or whatever the case. But a good straight letter, a real solid straight letter, is extremely refined. It's like prestiging in a video game. Like, they may be level 1, but they're 10th prestige.
I like
so
that.
It may be a basic straight letter, but it's really fucking refined.
Yeah, because you think almost with a straight letter you could have the perfect piece. Like, there could be nothing in that you would be able to do better that would make it more visually appealing. Like,
Yeah,
with a wild style, there's always something you could add, or there's no real rule at that point. But going back to the science of a straight letter, is there could be the perfect way that you have to construct everything together to make your flow work. Your letters compensate one another not too much. Nothing is too weighted, and it sits on the page effortlessly.
Looks nice, crisp, and clean.
Yeah. I wonder if anybody's taken the stab at trying to hunt for that perfect piece, because I don't think I'll ever get there, but power to you if you want to.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you what, I know I'm never getting there. That's for damn sure. The example I like to give, because when people ask me, like, oh, how will I know when I'm ready to add style for wild styles, I like to show them two different pieces. And one of them is a piece I did many years ago. It's a basic straight letter, and the other one is a piece a friend of mine did, Brew, and it's also a straight letter. But you can see just his secondary piece, all it says is the. You can see that just that is better than my super try-hard best ability at that time.
Gotcha.
And it's like, wow, that is what a refined straight letter looks like.
Yeah, and I never deter people to say, all right, don't try your straight letters, or don't try your wild styles before you're flawless at straight letters. But there's plenty to learn at every level. So if you're gonna maybe jump to a wild style, try something out, and then move back to straight letters, you can learn a lot from why your wild styles are now working in a way, and bring some of those tips back to straight letters. Yeah, I definitely, much like everybody, jumped right to crazy intricate hybrid styles, and eventually realized that I didn't really know what I was doing and everything was looking the same. So I had to work my way back and find, oh, what does actually make a good graffiti piece, and where can I actually learn some of these things?
Yeah, start there. I remember my dad, he saw my throw up. This happened many years ago, obviously. He saw my throw up, and he was like, wow, you're a toy. I was like, all right, guess I'm missing out on something. Guess I gotta learn something I don't know. At the time, I thought I was the dopest shit ever. I was like, I'm the world's best graffiti artist.
That's funny. I never had the crazy confidence, but I definitely had, a filtered confidence because who I was hanging out with, or where I was posting stuff. It was like, oh yeah, I like my stuff a lot, so do other people. But that only holds so true.
Yeah. Oh, I had the overconfidence like a motherfucker.
Nice.
Someone needed to smack me.
I
I
think
wasn't
I
sure.
heard you mention that before.
Damn. Yeah, I regret. If I can go back in time, I'd smack the shit out of myself.
Just one little reality check, and it might help quite a
Yep.
bit.
Yep. The reality check for me, and I'm grateful this happened, was when I met my mentor, and he pretty much was like totally unimpressed by my black book when I showed it to him. And this was the first time I was around like real, graffiti artists, old school New York graffiti artists, and people that were like legit respected in the community. And I went back to my seat and I was watching all these other old school graffiti artists, hit books and all that, and they did everything I wanted to do, and they did it effortlessly. And I
Yep.
was like, "Oh, okay, I need to shut my ass up and learn a thing or two."
I found I had a very similar thing when I first went to like some of graffiti jams or shows where there'd be 10 or 20 books going around, and or someone holding their book making sure it doesn't go around and showing off what they had in there. But same deal. It was like open it up, show it to somebody. They might not have their book out or whatnot, and they'll either you have no idea if they're wicked good or they're just same on par with you, and it'd be the same. It'd be, some people's stuff was like, Jesus, this is amazing, and other people's was just like, wow, your stuff is great. Now, you can take that with a grain of salt. If someone thinks my crummy stuff is good, I should probably not think so great of it. But same deal. It was, I remember this one. There was these two Asian kids that didn't speak any English, or one of them spoke English and was pretty much interpreting for the other kid who had his head down drawing, and I think they were visiting from somewhere else because I haven't seen them around since. But basically, ballpoint pen. The one kid was just murdering it on the page, and his other friend was describing where they were from or something to somebody else, and it was just like, wow, I could not straight letter fresh with a ballpoint like that. I'm clearly missing something if this kid's coming in here, and that's really what good looks like at this point. So some reality checks in that sense. But
Yep.
once you do get out, the internet's great and all, but you got to get out and see other people's stuff, and there's so much to learn from in-face techniques, whether it's how people grip a pen or simply how they're approaching a piece. You lose a lot of that when you do it by yourself in your bedroom for 10 years.
Yep. You lose a lot of that when you're watching people on YouTube, do their speed paintings that are edited in order to show you like the best and cleanest parts.
Certainly, yeah. You miss a lot of the grit, which I try to include sometimes, but it's hard to cover everything. And
Yep.
I mentioned this before, but like the nuances that I take for granted, like, oh, I cut back in this way, or I started with this color. The entire logic of a piece might not be totally captured in a 6 or 8 minute video.
Yeah, that's one thing that I actually like. And forgive me for always bringing up Twitch, but that's one thing I do like more about Twitch is you have the time to go into those nuances. People can sit there and ask you like, "Oh, why did you do this?"
Hmm.
Like, I don't know if it's still here, but Spencer, Grenz, Yozo, like those are people that are constantly in the Twitch streams, and they're always asking questions about like, how or why did you do this thing? Like, explain the science behind it. And I feel like that has a lot more value.
I hope those
For
people, those are the people that I feel like are going to be able to take those tools too. If they're already asking the questions, they're already willing to learn. Like, so I feel like they're going to be able to take that knowledge too and actually apply it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I remember talking to one of my friends when we first started. The comment was definitely from me. I would say, why can't we draw like a simple like block letter S or like a simple somewhat bubble letter and make that look good? And we both said, oh, whatever, we can make fancy throw ups, doesn't matter. And our throw ups were terrible. The letters barely looked like S's or I's or anything like that. And it goes to show like I had totally missed the ball on structure at that point. And if I couldn't make a standard square bottomed S, you're not going to be able to actually make something that's complex. It's kind of backwards.
Yeah.
And even that comment and conversation with somebody else that was at my skill level, it went right over both our heads, and we continued to make crummy letters probably for quite some time.
Yep. It's funny because looking back on it, I remember hanging out with crewmates and shit, and we would be pretty much saying the same shit like, "Oh man, why can't we do this or why can't we do that?" And like, and then immediately in the same fucking breath, we'll talk about how great we are.
Yep.
And why everybody should love our shit. And it's like, well,
oh, but wait, did you see this fill? It's got 14 colors. It's a vicious. I don't know. Was it humans or people are the most amnesiac race? Like we just keep forgetting, why things work and how they work, and just choose to ignore them and move along our way.
Yep.
I did have a crazy a come up at Hobby Lobby the other day. I managed to find in their clearance section 3 Molotovs for $1.17 each.
Holy shit.
And then recently I saw that Hobby Lobby was in some law trouble or potentially going out of business trouble, and I was like, oh, maybe that's why they were marked down so much.
That'll do it.
It was in rural Pennsylvania though, so I think I also was managing a little bit extra, as there's probably not too many people buying Molotovs way out there.
Yeah, probably not. Something tells me.
Yeah, and these things had literally like 5 different clearance tags on them, like all stacked up, like they'd marked down from $10 to $4, marked down from $4 to $3, all the way down to $1.15. I was like, all right, there's no way I'm walking out of here with leaving these guys.
Right. Like it'd be kind of dumb to not take them.
Right. One of them was the 227s, the larger size than the 127s. So I was like, colors were mediocre, but that was for sure. I don't know how I'm gonna work that into a video though, because I can't say that I hunt sale deals too often, as I'm coasting on supplies right now. But it was a sweet come up.
Yeah, that's always legit when you can find some good art supplies for real cheap. Damn.
Yeah,
art supplies are fucking expensive.
Yeah. I saw your tweet that you were headed to the store the other day.
Yep. I was like, I'm gonna spend like $20. I was like, oh, my bill came out to $80. Okay.
Damn. Yeah. Every time you turn a corner, there's something else that looks like I could probably work that in.
Yep, pretty much. It's like, oh, here's this thing that I want to try that I know I'll probably never use. Let me grab that.
Yeah, I feel like I do less fine art, obviously, so I'm probably less of a victim. But even when I go in, I find random things in, whatever section it might be that, oh, I could use some acrylics. Last time I used acrylics was like months ago. Like, I don't need to just, get giddy over the potential that it could work in, so...
That's when you get all of your ideas. That's when you start brainstorming.
Oh,
when you see shit you can afford.
Definitely.
You're like, oh, that ink, I can use that for something. It's like, okay, slow down.
That's why gifted art supplies are way better. Then you have an obligation to show the person that gave you a gift, hey, look, I made something cool with it, and now I can be creative with something that was placed into my hand.
There you go. There's some shit for you. I can't say I'm really ever gifted art supplies.
It is rare myself, but the few times I've found myself with an extra marker or something, I've definitely tried to use it the next round of pieces.
I feel like I gotta get I gotta practice more and get better with actual alcohol-based markers, because whenever I use them, I always think about this one artist that I saw on DeviantArt like over a decade ago. It was a long ass time ago.
Okay.
And he would do these like crazy fucking realistic images. It was like cartoony shit, but he would have tiles perfectly drawn in perspective, and the tiles had the reflection of the cartoon characters, and it looked realistic. And then he'd have them in like in a fucking aquarium where there was a shark underwater that the character was looking at, and you could see the fucking reflection there as well as the shark. And I'm like, this is mind blowing. This is fucking mind blowing. And to this day, I still have no fucking idea how he did it.
Yeah, I mean, I try, but I don't get too extreme with my my ink marker is more or less, it's the standard piece, so it's, you got your basic colors and fades and whatnot, and I'm not trying realistic things by any means on a normal piece, but damn, the people that can make it look very effortless.
Yeah, shit. If only.
Yeah, right.
Here we are again. Why can't I do this?
A little practice might help, Mike.
Right.
Oh, jeez. I don't know. I feel like, I choose to learn when I want to and enjoy art for the times that, it's a easy, decompress after a day or whatnot and kind of run with that. Don't get too stressed about making sure that it's perfect each and every second along the way.
That's my issue.
Do you think you fret about it a little too much?
Art is literally all I do.
Yeah.
I wake up and I work on art or something art related from the time I wake up till the time I go to sleep. And I'm sitting like, I don't know. I fucked up that color. I fucked this up. I'm like sketching out ideas. I'm fucking plotting and planning and shit. It's like, oh no, that won't work.
Oh, jeez.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some diversity will help to, manage that a little bit better. Not think about the same thing every time you go into it, or let some things ride.
Does anyone know of Odith? Odith is fucking dope.
So now you mentioned you recently built your PC. Would you like
Oh
to
yeah, oh my goodness.
elaborate
yeah.
on those trials?
Oh my god. Alright, so it's important to get out the way that I suck with anything technology related. So I pulled up a YouTube video in order to figure out how to do this shit. And I found a 10-minute video where the guy builds the PC in 10 minutes. Took me 10 hours.
Hey, you know those art books that have a circle and then a master Mona Lisa at the next frame?
Yep.
Same deal.
Pretty much, I guess, right? Fucking draw a circle, there you go. You're done. But man, I spent 10 hours building my PC. I couldn't tell you what's in it. I couldn't tell you the specs. I literally went to, at the time, because I had just started watching Twitch, around that time. I went to one of my favorite streamers at the time, looked at their specs that they had listed on their profile, and then bought all of those items.
Okay. So at least you had a baseline to run with.
Yeah. I mean, the PC is a fucking powerhouse. Like, it's amazing.
And what are you editing on?
I use my MacBook Pro for editing.
Oh, okay. So
which is probably not the best idea.
Just gaming and streaming on.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally the only reason I turn on that PC is for streaming and gaming.
Cool.
And I mean, it can run, very, very, very stressful games on it. Like let's say something like I don't know, what's the most stressful game I have? Probably Dragon's Dogma.
Mm-hmm.
It can run something that requires. I don't even know if Dragon's Dogma requires a lot. Regardless, fuck it. It can run, intensive games pretty smoothly, and stream at the same time.
That's good to know. What kind of card do you have?
Now you're asking me too much. I don't know. I mean, I can get all the information for you without an issue because I have it all on my Twitch.
Yeah, maybe I'll just look it up after.
I'm not sure if it's actually listed there, but if I go to the chat and I type in ! specs, it'll pull it all up for me.
Now that's fancy. That is fancy.
So I was like, oh shit, you have all the...
Yeah, I have mine in my head. I don't have much more than that.
See, I don't know any of that stuff.
Yeah, I guess because I spec'd out most of my parts, I was able to do that instead than rely on a list. But I guess mine wasn't too fancy either. It was I bought an old server and took the processors and stuff from that, and then basically just threw some new hard drives in there and a card. So I only have 3 parts, so it's a little easier to remember them. See,
you said all that, and I don't know what any of that means.
Nice. Well, maybe somebody in the chat does. But aside from that, I won't
That's
bore
how
you
bad
with
with computers I am. I don't know shit. I'm pretty confident that I am the worst with computers.
It took us only a little while to get the stream started after we did finally connect online.
Yeah, I was expecting to use like all the 30 minutes. I was like, oh man, here we go. This is about to be difficult for me, and it was pretty smooth.
My as we're talking about this, my CPU is slowing down, so I'm buffering quite a bit. But your stream looks beautiful.
Oh,
I don't know if it's worth trying to unplug my webcam and plug it back in.
who knows? I don't know if that would work.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It could be buffering this entire time, and I wouldn't even know. I haven't been looking up too much. Oh well. I'll just hopefully not crash the whole stream.
There you go. That's all you can do at the end of the day.
Yeah,
just
coast it out. If at all, we got the audio run and some 8-bit 8-bit video to compensate my recent MS Paint graffiti 8-bit stuff.
yeah. I watched that video. There was no way in hell my ass would be able to do that on MS Paint.
I was surprised at how my memory from when I used to do it held up, as well as how kind of fortunate the straight letter was, because you really don't have any choices when you're drawing with a straight pen tool that links all your points like that.
Yeah.
Force you to make a straight letter, and you really know when it looks like shit. So definitely I had a crutch in that sense, that I could just move through a straight letter and decide, oh, this contour looks all right. I think I can work with that with my next point, and just move on through.
Yeah, I was pretty I was watching that and I was like, oh, okay, SIVE going it, and holy shit.
It was definitely fun. Can't say I've done much digital graffiti art. I know we kind of, I think we offhandedly talked about this last time, but what are your thoughts on digitally maybe enhancing a piece once it's finished? So you obviously, I think this would apply better to your fine art stuff, but you finish a piece, you have your color scheme out, or do you digitally enhance it for prints? Do you digitally enhance it at all? Do you let it ride?
You almost have to
Mm-hmm.
for very specific things. Like all right, just to hit all the extremes. If I have a painting and I pull it into Photoshop, I'm not gonna go ahead and start like fixing the nose and shit like that. Like no, because that's shit that should be done on the painting.
Yeah, so composition, no go there.
So more so things like I may have to do some color adjust and some light adjustments. This way the print or the actual photo that I'm posting on Instagram and shit like that looks as close to the real life product as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That should be the only digital change you make.
I like that. Yeah, because I feel like you could quickly get dishonest with, what the actual piece looks like if you're color correcting, 50% of what's actually on there and showing that instead of the real thing.
Yeah. So like as close to reality as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only adjustments, and you're gonna have to, because your camera isn't going to capture the colors the way it is in real life. It's not going to capture the lights the way it is in real life. It's not going to capture everything exactly as it is in real life.
Yeah, I could see that.
So,
yeah, I can't say I've photographed too much fine art, but the times I had for high school portfolio work or whatnot, it was definitely terribly hard to first get a straight photo,
yeah,
and then not have it all warped and whatnot, and then secondly, also have colors, or God forbid it's pencil, and not have a bunch of glare on it.
Oh my goodness. That's what I hate about pencil.
Yeah.
Like I love working in pencil, but my God, that glare is vicious.
Yeah. God knows how the fine art stuff does it, but I'll stick to markers and stuff that are a little easier to photograph. And I won't go overboard with like Instagram filters and whatnot, but a comes times that like, all right, one looks pretty good and it's not too unjust, so
Yeah.
going that route. But
There's nothing wrong with that, especially if it's like something small. If it's not like some Mona Lisa type of painting or
yeah,
whatever. If
yeah,
it's just something innocent, then it doesn't really matter.
yeah.
You
I
know?
feel like, and it's so rare that you're ever gonna see what you find on Instagram in real life that uh, you're really not doing anyone unjust. That you're just showing off what it is, and if it is something that's a one-off sticker or something, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, no one's really hurt by doing that.
Nah. Nah. The other thing, as far as like digitally modifying, and this once again, I guess it applies more to fine art, or it could apply to anything really. Is like I'll take out like little dust particles and shit, which is just as a tip to anybody out there who might be photographing their artwork. Probably a good idea to take those out because it just
But you don't
sharpens up
like
the image.
snowflakes?
Yeah, right. No, who doesn't like that? Who, who doesn't like a big white spot on the person's face that you spent like 200 hours working on?
Now you're getting suggestive.
Yeah, damn. You got me.
Thank-
My perverted mind.
Totally agree, though. Yeah, no one has a super fancy scanner, I'm sure, for most entry level artists. So having the tools to get you a better photo are, I approve of them. Not that my opinion matters at all, but I think it's fair to have that kind of stuff on hand.
Nope, your opinion is the only one that matters.
Oh.
Everybody's gonna hold you responsible to that.
Seems what the internet seems to polarize, so wouldn't be surprised.
The internet is a hell of a thing for art, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's.
definitely the only reason I'm
I
doing
feel
it.
like. I mean, yeah, it certainly helps. Like, you get a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I haven't done art in a while, and I want to start. What should I do?" And I'm not saying make a YouTube channel, but posting your art online certainly is a great way to kind of motivate yourself to do it more.
Yeah, I definitely find more motivation in an extra purpose to get out and do it. I feel like it, I don't do it for the likes and the comments by any means. Like that's not what motivates me to do it. It's kind of just making a video and sharing it online gives an extra purpose to the random drawings I'm doing. So maybe it just gives more validation that I'm not wasting random time drawing stickers, but who knows if I really am,
Man, I mean, could you even honestly say that you've wasted time doing it? Because I mean,
it's not wasted. No, it could be better purposed elsewhere. Depends on who you're talking to, but yeah, we'll just see. I liked it. I enjoy it, so we'll keep it going until I get super bored and find something else to throw hobby in the mix
so
with
what
art.
would you do if not YouTube and graffiti and stickers?
I was asked this question the other day and had nothing to really reply with.
Damn.
Because it's such a easy, like I said before, kind of relaxing, second hobby or second nature thing to do. I can mindlessly draw for an hour, listen to some podcasts or watch some YouTube videos, and there's not much to it. And relax or decompress after a day, and then move on to back to real world, whether it's work or school. So I can't say that another hobby would as easily fill that. And hobbies in the past were more or less sports and whatnot. So now that I'm past the collegiate level stuff and not turning back, there's no more no more draw in those respects to have a community or a hobby center going around.
Can't say. Well, like you mentioned sports. What kind of sports we talking about? I know you did a little snowboarding.
Yes, I snowboard. I still do. So that was never competitive. So I guess that doesn't really count. That's always been leisure and will continue to be. Never some crazy pro athlete. But I swam through high school for the most part. So that was timely and a good time. Great group of friends through it. So we'll see. Haven't nearly gotten back into competitive swimming, but don't know if I'll ever jump back into the pool because it was a I don't know, a stressful and very time-consuming hobby and sport, and not too much pleasure goes into sitting down and moving your body around for 3 hours.
Oh my god. Yeah, fuck that. I did track one day and I gave up.
Oh, jeez, you beat me there. I got the sign-ups and turned around.
I wish I didn't go. There was a pretty girl. She was beautiful, and she did track. And she ran past me. She was like, said something along the lines of "Keep up, pussy."
Oh, nice.
And so I busted my ass in order to keep up, and I ended up puking all over the place. Not a good look.
Well, at least you gave it some effort.
If that's what you want to call it. This goes back to what I was saying before. Running is the only exercise that makes me feel like I want to die after I'm doing it.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be one of those that you really have to put the effort in and die a few times before you are good enough or have the capacity enough to not continue to die.
Not continue to die. There you go. Solid advice.
I did hear a study, however, that they're saying you get pretty much the same benefits out of an hour of running that you do out of 10 minutes. So maybe you only have to die for a little while to get the same health benefits.
There you go. Hey, I'm going to take that as fact. It's like that I have to run less.
Okay, there you go. Pseudoscience from SIVE. I'll
Yeah.
stand by it.
Why isn't this a YouTube channel, man? Like, why?
I do
Why
love
are
the
there
sciences, so I could pretend to understand some high-level science and then give some crummy facts to back them up.
There you go. As long as it's like a satire video, you're good.
Yeah, right? It doesn't count as fake news at that point.
Yep. I read something in chat, and I just read that like 4 or 5 times. Still don't understand what it is, and I'm pretty sure they wrote it correctly. Just I suck at reading.
Which one?
Do style file Nussland. I don't know what that means. They probably didn't write that right, unless they're from a different land.
I don't see it myself. Someone asked if you speak Dutch, so maybe that's in line with the comment that you.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I certainly only speak English.
Yeah, foreign language was never a strong suit.
Yeah, I sucked at that. I had Spanish. I'm Puerto Rican. I had Spanish like 3 years in a row and failed all 3 years.
Solid. I took it 2 years at the end of middle school and 2 years in high school and couldn't put together a sentence at this point. It was I didn't put the early time in. I didn't know the principles, and then they just compounded on not continuing to know. I can memorize vocab, I guess, every once in a while, but that only holds true so long.
Where do you buy stickers?
SIVE.bitcartel.com. Duh.
Yeah, right there you go. That's the only place to buy stickers. Selling customs today?
Always customs. But not always, because I don't have time
Always,
to print
but
them.
only sometimes.
So you asked me, future projects, do you have any cool things down the pipe?
Oh, God. So I just finished a hyper-realistic painting.
Is that the rose hand?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, that looks so cool.
Oh, thank you.
Dude, the
Thank you,
background. So I tried to browse around and make sure I didn't miss the video where you showed it off, and so I take it you haven't totally shown it off yet?
No, it comes out 2 weeks from now.
Well, I'm eagerly awaiting then.
And honestly, I don't have a lot of footage of the actual speed painting because I painted most of it on Twitch.
Bastard. Pull some of those videos down.
I can't because Twitch deletes them after like a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I thought they keep stuff on there.
If you actually upload it, they do.
Okay. So you have a week to
Which,
download and then.
yeah, exactly. And they allow you to export it directly to YouTube, but then it's not exactly the best option. So
Yeah.
rather just download it and then edit it into a cohesive speed painting and then upload it back to YouTube,
Gotcha.
which I didn't do. So I don't have much footage. I have enough for like a small little speed painting, which honestly is probably better because like the retention on the speed paintings, people like we said before, they just skip to the end anyway.
Yep.
So
And God forbid you tease it and
yeah.
show anything but the finished product at the beginning. They'll find their way immediately to it.
Yep. So it's gonna be a short speed painting. Like I said, probably better that way anyway. And yeah, that image was a lot of fun. But right now I'm between paintings, so all right. I had a year's worth of paintings planned out,
Wow.
and then the model I was working with, I'm not gonna go too much into it, but I no longer can do that image.
Gotcha.
So that whole entire year's worth of projects got scrapped. And now I'm in the search for a new model, a new couple of models, because I lost the other three that I was working with. And that one's much more simply explained by I work with a lot of professionals as well as a lot of amateurs.
Hmm.
And typically when an amateur model starts dating somebody, they stop modeling, which is fine. That's understandable. And I typically work with the more professional ones, for like a single image, and then that's it.
Yep.
So I'm trying to find some more. So as of right now, I'm working on this
Do you
piece
like
right here.
to do live sketching from models, or do you
Oh, that's awesome.
images and
I
whatnot as
used to do a
well?
lot of it, but I haven't done much of that recently.
Okay.
So as of recently, it's been much more of like working through online means.
Yeah, because I feel like you obviously have that as a front. You can pull on your audience and hopefully stretch into wider ranges of people. But I can imagine that's less ideal than having a model in front of you that you can walk around and.
Yeah, yeah. Live is always better, but beggars can't be choosers at the same time. If I need to
Certainly.
get work done and I need something, then I'll use what I have. But at the moment, I'm using this sculpture that I'm doing and this piece in the background for a potential painting.
Okay.
I would like to get a model for this so I can have a hyper realistically drawn or painted woman along with this hyper realistic, three-dimensional graffiti.
Definitely.
Because I mean, I have the sculpture right here. It'd be a shame to not utilize it in a hyper realistic sense,
Dude, you should just throw it away.
right? You know what? Fuck this.
I mean, you're almost done, so get rid of it. Start over, like we said.
So I'd like to use this for like a hyper realistic painting, but I might use it for cartoons. If
You don't
I
like
don't
to double
use
dip
this,
on
double dip on what?
using it on multiple projects in
Yeah,
paintings?
I mean, I use it for the sketch box because like it was the perfect thing for it, and it was designed for that.
Yep.
I'm doing this, and this kind of like why I'm sculpting it is pretty much like why I sculpt graffiti in general. For example, this piece as well. The whole reason why I sculpt graffiti in the first place is to study it for painting.
Okay.
So, me sculpting this is precisely the original reason for why I began sculpting, which is I would intend to paint this. So I would like to use this for hyper-realistic painting, but I might not. I might use it for cartoons.
All right.
And if I do use it for a hyper-realistic painting, then I have a different image for a cartoon. So I'll probably be doing one of those two things in the near future. And I'm also trying to get in contact with some new special effects makeup artists to do more stuff like the rose painting.
Cool. So that model was, sketching and roses, or is there more to that? Or save it for the video?
That rose image, I worked with a special effects makeup artist named GLM on Instagram. Absolutely amazing work. You can see it in the picture. Absolutely
Yeah,
amazing work.
it looks rad from the painting. I can imagine the real thing looks pretty cool too.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, I worked with her. She provided the special effects, and the photograph to work from, and she just gave me free range. She was like, yeah, go to town, paint away.
Those are some of the coolest collaboration efforts too, when you can really promote with mediums that, there's no competition at all between these two mediums. You're both supporting each other's art in a very unique way by your own attributes. So I find those, whether it's, with Applique and stuff that we've done, each individually with them, you're going to get a very cool rendition of your art in some other fashion.
Yep. Applique is awesome.
Yeah, they're doing it right. They definitely support the artists and help to really push the culture forward to get you some unique ways of featuring your art.
And you know that's something I truly value in companies and like sponsors that come our way is like if they value the artist, that means a lot to me.
Yeah. The funny thing is I had one that came to me, said, basically, I want to, can you do a short form advertisement, basically describe the product or service and, this and that. And I was like, no, I don't just sell ad space on mine. Like you have to add, value to my content. I have to add value to your content. It has to be kind of, mutually beneficial to feature you or have my stuff featured along your stuff. They're like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, no, I don't really want to do that otherwise. And then they said, all right, went their separate way, then came back and pitched me my idea back to me. I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. But I was like, really? It took you a month to turn around and say, it might be more beneficial to have an honest, incorporation of a product or an honest thing. And I was just like, well, whatever works. Like, I understand you're here to learn too. Like, can't be the perfect marketer or whatnot from the start. It's like some things work their way back to you in really interesting ways.
Yep. I had, and this I wasn't too much a fan of. If I remember the name, I would totally call them out because it's kind of bullshit. But I had a makeup company contact me, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to use our makeup in one of your videos in order to like, do a tutorial?" And I was like, "The fuck am I gonna do with makeup?" Like,
are you imposing that I need some?
Like, have I posted a single fucking makeup video on my YouTube channel? It's like, damn, did you do a second of research?
Right, yeah. This had to have been an automated email that just got sent out.
Yep. They're like, anybody with a YouTube channel, here, send it to them.
You tagged art in one Instagram photo and you got 12 emails about it.
Yep. It's like, fuck. Yep. So a company that looks into the artist before and like actually cares about the audience that they have and tries to work with the artist and that audience, like that's important.
Yeah, and you obviously see that that'll rise to the top anytime. Like, as a viewer myself of plenty of YouTube and whatnot, you see through the brand deals that are just placeholders and just put in there, and for whatever reason people take them on, and whether they needed the cash or they thought it was fitting enough to include, that's them to decide. But it's obviously pretty clear when it's them just reading a 10-second clip and it has no relevance to the video I'm actually trying to watch. So I tried to definitely avoid that from my stuff.
That's it. Now I'm just going to take that makeup deal just as an inside joke.
You could probably come up with something pretty creative with that. It wouldn't be that too far-fetched to do some artwork on body.
I would just legit do my own makeup.
Hell, if you wanted to go that route too, I'm sure you'd be plenty accepting of it too.
And then all the comments would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. You definitely have some interesting comment feed.
Oh man, I would have to approach it in a more humorous manner.
Yeah. Well, hell, they have those boyfriend does makeup videos and whatnot. You could try to spin it with that, with just I do makeup, period, and
there you go.
Be a shit show.
That's actually not a bad idea. I'll tell you what, those boyfriend does makeup videos, those are actually kind of fun to watch. I enjoy seeing those.
A guilty pleasure. No, I'm just kidding. I've seen a couple.
I'm always like, damn, that guy didn't do too bad of a job.
Yeah, you question it, maybe, how good he is.
Yeah. He's like, may have done his own makeup in the past.
Must have practiced somewhere.
Right? Let me see that video of him.
Yeah. Is there behind the scenes?
Oh, Spencer would pick me up from the club. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's the real question.
What's
Is
that?
smash or pass me when I'm wearing makeup?
Oh
There you
god.
go.
You could just rope in all the videos into one. Your smash or pass, a mom reaction video, and a makeup video all together.
There you go. We're gonna break YouTube.
Or not, because it's in the art category, so
There
nobody
you
will see it.
go. You know what? It's not in the art category because we don't have a category. Full circle. We brought this all the way back around. Oh, I just lost all of chat. My fault. There you go. What's your opinion on custom spray cans? That's something we see quite a bit of.
Custom spray cans. I've done one myself. They are interesting to draw on. I think they are a pretty cool shelf piece. They definitely. I don't know. I only did a throw up on mine, so I didn't get too crazy about it because the guy requested it be a throw up. But I think they're a cool placeholder to have, and definitely something different to add some graffiti to.
I mean,
Have you ever made one?
I tried, admittedly, and didn't go too well.
Nice.
This happened back when I used to work at the graffiti store,
Okay.
and I was like, "Yeah, fuck this," because we were having a show. If I remember correctly, granted, this is like over a decade ago, so memory ain't gonna be the best. But if I remember correctly, we were having a show, and people were submitting like various things, and I wanted to do a spray can for one, and I wanted to be in the show. I mean, I worked there, so I kind of had an easy in, and I tried for all of like 10 minutes and was like, nope, fuck this. This is hard.
So is the round surface too much, or just getting lines where you wanted them?
Yeah, I don't know what it was, to be honest. Maybe it was just the fact that back then I just wasn't even like good to begin with.
Okay.
So it might have been a combination of all that, which is more than likely what it was. It was probably just a combination of all that.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get back to them, but then again, at the same respect, I don't buy super nice cans, so I don't have much to draw on that would look cool as well. A custom fresh paint can would not hold as much shelf life as a custom, gold or a black line or something.
You can go ahead and rock a custom, old Krylon that they don't even make anymore.
That would be
People would.
blasphemy if I got on there.
Right.
I think I might get chewed out too much, rightfully so, that my art never existed during that decade, so probably shouldn't ruin an antique with it either.
Oh man, I know a couple of like my mentor and his partner. They used to collect them,
Oh, I bet,
and
yeah.
legit when people would try to touch them, like just touch them, they would flip the
Damn.
shit. It was like, well, guess I'm never touching
Yeah,
that.
good to know. I occasionally jump on Craigslist and stuff to see if there's anything worth grabbing. Rarely do I come up with much spray paint. I don't know if you've
I'm
ever
looking
tried.
for how the hell do I know what it is. I know what it is because I have the ultra wide.
Oh,
But
Marsh marker? Like Marsh ink ultra wides? The old, like, industrial?
I never heard him referred to as Marsh.
Marsh is the brand of ink. I forget what the ultra...
Oh, that's why.
like,
'Cause,
they came in steel cans, like... I've never
the
used them.
the Flowmaster ink
Okay, yeah, same deal.
is Flowmaster ink is that shit. And I bought a bottle of Flowmaster as well as an ultra wide and a mini, but I'm looking for the uni wide, and I
Okay.
can't fucking find a damn uni wide.
Yeah,
I want a uni wide with a Flowmaster.
good old combo.
Like if I can have that, oh my god, I'd be so fucking happy.
You would hit so many pieces of paper.
Right? Oh,
I would
man.
be right there with you.
There. All of the paper.
Yes.
all the paper.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, man, I would have a lot cheaper resources and wouldn't have to paint over this damn wall so much if I didn't have to own the wall that I'm also painting. Fuck.
I gotta say, like speaking kind of on that same topic, YouTube has dramatically changed graffiti crews for me. And I don't know if you feel similarly. I don't like you don't feel free obviously to not say anything, right? Because I don't know. But for me personally, like it's pretty common knowledge. I used to do illegal graffiti, and I no longer do. But there was a point where I didn't want, you know, like a crew name is another identifying factor. So if I were to go ahead and confess my crews, back then when I cared about this, you would then be able to see which Grim I am. But without saying what crews, well, there's hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of different Grims out there. There's no way you're gonna be able to see which one's me. So that was a big factor for me back when I first started YouTube, because I didn't want that identifier on me, and I just dropped all crews. Period.
I would probably see that as a safe bet on many levels. So, if you choose to speak on this again, this is your choice. But I knew someone that got caught, and when they got caught, they were tried for literally every graffiti piece in the town because of that. And I don't know that a crew identifier would have helped in this case, but it was so blanket that they just said, well, we caught you doing graffiti. Look at all this graffiti. You must have done all of it. Why don't we just screw this one person over? And
man, they got him on a bullshit charge.
Yeah, so it didn't end up like, it didn't end with that, but that's where the trial started. But I don't know if calling a crew at that point would have, all right, I can confess to exactly everything that I did because it's always signed with this. Don't worry, it's just me. But that's also just white collar trying to do their dirty and get some teenage kid out of the way.
Yeah. Getting caught is never fun, ain't that the fucking truth? Who let me in TKO? Damn. I never, alright, so I was put down in TKO many fucking years, it's gotta be over 10 years ago. And it's a crew that I never put up because I never felt like I was part of anything. It's one of those kind of just numbers crews where you're just in it just to be another number for them. And I never really was down for that. It's just not my personal preference. I forget the actual graffiti artist's name that put me down. But and that also speaks to why I also didn't really too much care for the crew, is because like the dude just saw my book and was like, "Oh shit, I've seen your work elsewhere," because at the time I did illegal graffiti, and he was like, "Yeah, this is pretty legit. Here, you're down." And I knew for a fact he was in, but it didn't mean shit to me, so I never put it up.
Yeah, I mean, almost in the same vein, like the times I've tried to make a crew online with people that I don't even know. It's like, all right, but doesn't hold any value. There's nothing actually tangible here. And then, all right, cool, we're an online posse. Doesn't mean anything, much the same as you don't actually know who those guys are. It's just emptiness for the sake of a little bit of a title.
Yep. Yeah, and that was always like my big thing with crews, is it should feel more like a family. It should feel more like a bunch of friends and a bunch of people who actually know one another and trust one another. Mm-hmm. That band together in order to become this force. So
yeah, there should be a benefit to being considered a culmination of people rather than just two people that sign the same thing next to their pieces.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure there are plenty of online crews that probably survive and do well and are beneficial, but I can't say anyone that I've ever joined has been a bonus for me and my work.
Yeah, I don't really, because at that point, the second it's like an online thing, it's really at the end of the day, it's really just an art collective.
Yeah.
And that's its own thing with its own, sort of I don't know the way to word it. It's kind of just got its own different sort of things that it entails that aren't really in line so much with regular graffiti.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Because now you're throwing on the online aspect to it, and that immediately changes that dynamic. So,
Oh, totally. Yeah, the internet's weird. I don't know that we'll ever figure it out as people. You know, things
yeah,
will just
I
keep
don't know.
changing and be something different each time. Allegedly, I had a voice crack just then. Hopefully, it was just audio and not in real life.
There you go. SIVE hitting puberty for the second time.
Oh, maybe the first.
Oh. How much cruise have I been in? Or SIVE? Or either of us?
Under 10, probably less than 5, currently
Wow.
0. I think
Yeah.
that conversation kind of ends there. Not much.
Mine is easily about 20, maybe a little bit more, but currently kind of 0.
You get around, my man.
I mean, back in the day when I used to work at the graffiti store, I'd meet graffiti artists from all over the world.
Yeah, that's a good point. You got that upper hand, that's for sure.
Yep. I mean, I would go to these jams and meet, legendary graffiti artists, and I'd meet graffiti artists who were, for lack of a better term, graffiti artists who were nobodies, graffiti artists who were just starting off, graffiti artists who have been doing it for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, So I got to meet a lot of graffiti artists.
Now, did you think when you were around the culture, you were able to improve faster, or is it more of a you were so new that it was altogether just something in itself different than?
Well, at that time, before I got the mentor, I had already been doing graffiti for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I did graffiti for 6 years, then met up with Demmer, and after I met up with Demmer, he mentored me for like an additional 5 years. And then after that is when I began YouTube, and we come here till today. And before Demmer, I was just some shit toy running around. After Demmer, I was learning more about the respect and the history and the actual culture, and learning the ropes as far as those things are concerned. And then after Demmer, it was a lot of the fine art stuff that helped me actually get better at graffiti, which was 100% due to my fine art mentor, whose name I'm not going to mention because I'm sure you get a lot of emails. I know I get a lot of emails of people asking for a mentor, and if I give out his information, I don't want him getting emails because the dude is an actual successful artist, much unlike myself. So,
There you go.
so I don't want to become like an annoyance to him, but he taught me a lot of the actual science behind art, and fine art specifically, and I was able to take that and apply it to graffiti.
Solid.
And with that's kind of like when I actually got good at graffiti, if you want to put it that way. I mean, I know the fundamentals, so after anybody knows the fundamentals for anything, you can't say that they're not good. You can only say that you don't like what they do. Because
if they're applying things in the most honest way or the most accurate way, just the way they applied them is the only thing that you can be somewhat upset about.
Yep. So that's the point where like I kind of started to get better at graffiti. Now, I mean, granted, obviously, once I met Demmer, there was a massive improvement, and that's when I exit the toy phase, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
with the actual lettering and the skills and understanding the fundamentals and all that stuff. But as far as going beyond that happened after.
Yeah, and I feel like you probably learn, in interesting ways when you're not realizing it, and then when you take a fresh set of eyes back to graffiti, you're able to say, oh, I learned these 5 things over here, maybe they apply, or I can work them in elsewhere.
Yeah.
And so now you don't have, those, you get rid of some of those preconceived notions or those ruts that you start with. Because, every time you look at a piece of paper or you go to start a throw up, you might think the same, set of lines to start each time, and you're never going to really deviate from that. But if you go away for a month and then have to come back fresh, and you're probably more willing to try some new stuff out. And especially if you've been learning, somewhat around that space, you could apply probably far better color theory into fills and whatnot.
Oh yeah. See, I kind of screwed myself on that front because I did a 10-year black and white predominantly. Obviously, I did color every now and again, but I did black and white predominantly for 10 years for graffiti specifically, and that helped me to understand letter structure a shit ton, but it fucked with my color theory a shit ton.
Yeah.
So,
were you
so
doing
it was double-edged
strictly black and white, or were you trying some halftones and whatnot in there as well? Trying to
At
give
the
some
time,
value.
it was mostly back then. It was mostly black and white. Like it was a good 80% to maybe 90% black and white. As far as like the percentage of work was like 80 or 90% black and white, and then every now and again I'd pull out some color and try it just so like that I didn't lose it completely.
Mm-hmm.
And really the only thing that kept the color theory and all that stuff in check was the fact that I also did fine art, and that was always colored.
Gotcha.
So that was the only thing that really kept that intact.
Yeah, flexing the muscles in one way or another, even if it wasn't directly graffiti.
Yeah. But if I can go back, I probably would have relaxed with done a little bit more color, a little less black and white. That's a little overkill.
You're strict on yourself, and
I obsess hard.
I wish I had another red Crayola. It's running low.
Oh, is that what you're using? You're busting out the markers?
Oh, always cheap Crayolas.
The cheap art supply challenge.
Hell, it's every video. Every live stream, I should say.
There you go. How often do you intend on doing these live streams?
I mean, I on best notice once a month, I think would be the most reasonable. With my current schedule, that might change as I go back to school because I'm in my last year, so I don't have a lot of credits left to do, and so I might have a lot of free time and just do it part-time. But I haven't decided what I'll fill my other time with, whether or not dedicating a bunch more time to YouTube's worthwhile or going to find a real-world job. So we'll see.
Would you consider Twitch?
Yeah, I'm not biased towards YouTube at all. It just works a little better with my current fan base. I don't have any. I guess I will never have anybody on Twitch until I start that. So maybe start moving towards there if it works a little evenly or a little better by any means. You seem to have a lot of good to say about it, so it's probably worth another shot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to tell you this because I mean, you've done social media for God knows how long now. But obviously, it's gonna be slow in the beginning, but picks up. And I'll tell you what, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy to see people over on Twitch that started like a year ago, and now you can kind of get an idea as to how much people get paid over on Twitch based on how many emotes they have.
What's that?
I said you can kind of get an idea as to how much people get paid.
What's an emote?
Like you get to make like a little like on your phone how you have like emotes and shit. You get to make your own once you become a partner.
Gotcha.
So
if they have a bunch of them, they're a little bit more successful.
Yep. You unlock more emotes based on how many subs you have. So the more subs you have, the more money you make, and the more emotes you have, you can kind of get an idea as to how much that person makes. And it's crazy to see people that started like a year ago or like 2 years ago, and they are making more than like they'll have 20,000 followers, let's say as an example, and they'll be making more than somebody on YouTube with say 80,000.
Yeah,
it's like, well,
the value probably is much better at that point, just because you have the longer form,
Yeah.
And it seems they treat you well with better categories and more community base over there. So.
Oh yeah, community's very friendly too. I can't say enough good things. I mean, obviously Twitch has its own problems as well. any platform is, but I'd rather take Twitch's problems than YouTube's.
There you go.
So
Yeah, so maybe I will humor that with the next round. Try it over there, see what. Because you only get paid once you become a partner with them, right?
yeah,
Like it's a little different than just throwing an ad on a YouTube video.
yeah, and with that, like if if you want to talk money on Twitch, there's also an affiliate program, which is kind of like the middle ground between partner and just a normal streamer.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like somebody who just started streaming, not making any money. And then you have the affiliate program where you can make money, and then you have the partner program. And the affiliate program, as of right now, has a very low bar to entry. Like you'll see people achieve the affiliate program in months of streaming.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah, that's definitely a better consideration when I do, if I'm able to keep a consistent schedule, and because like you said before, they're definitely going to support people that are regular on their own platform.
yeah,
So, coming up with at least a schedule and saying maybe, first Wednesday of every month is a little behind the art interview or chit chat with somebody, would definitely help to keep a consistent following and hopefully move some of the YouTubers over there to see that. Because I know I don't spend any time on Twitch. The few times I get over there, I watch for 10 minutes and then kind of get bored and not super interested in whatever's going on. And then,
yeah. Admittedly, Twitch is pretty boring. Like, as somebody who loves Twitch,
yeah,
ironically, it's boring as shit, but it's boring with company. So as weird as that
sounds like the 21st century.
Like you can have company while you're sitting there at home, working on some bullshit or whatever the case is. You can have something there.
Yep.
And I think that's why a lot of people watch Twitch. Like a lot of people will sketch along with their artists that they watch on Twitch.
Yeah, and I mean like that's supportive of the kind of podcast model. I'm never sitting down just listening to a radio broadcast. More or less, I'm driving in the car or I'm finding something else to do while it's playing in the background just to meld my mind when I choose to tune into it or something catches my interest. People like to multitask. That's for sure.
Yep. Yeah, that's typically the way I watch Twitch. Is that I'll just lurk in somebody's chat. I'll just sit there and listen as I work on my own stuff, whether it's editing or whether it's whatever, just sketching up something or whatever I happen to be working on that day. As to where, for me at least, YouTube is a little more active. It's something that I'm actually watching.
Have you seen the new kind of GIF-oriented pre-rolls that you can hover over a video and watch?
Yeah.
Getting fancy.
That's got me thinking about, like, all right, what should I have in the video that would kind of make those little GIF things a little more attractive.
Boobs, I think, was a good start. We mentioned that earlier.
That's it. Guys, I'm starting up a Patreon for boob jobs. And by boob jobs, I mean
for better
implants.
You hit a couple titles there, too. It'll trend on itself. Maybe you could record the process.
There you go. Imagine that. Just fucking... Let's do a video of me getting implants.
I'm sure it'll fit within the community guidelines.
Oh, yeah. I mean, medical, right? That's... Oh, God. Like how we go off on random nonsensical tangents.
They more or less mean something. They hold some relevance to the conversation, I hope.
That's the excuse we'll use, like that we can continue doing.
Oh, definitely. So how long do you think that whole piece is going to take for you to mold?
I'm almost done because I'm keeping this as flat as possible.
Okay.
I'm not adding texture. I do have to do like a lot of smoothing, so that'll be the only thing. And I don't have enough experience in this in order to be like, oh, it's going to take me exactly this many hours,
Right.
or even ballpark. Because it's the first time I'm doing something like this one. I swear this was a little more textured. Um, so honestly, I don't know. I have no idea.
I think an interesting note on where modeling is going to go is with all the 3D printing work. It's going to be a lot easier to model this stuff online and then print it out and make a mold from right there rather than having to also do the dirty work of sculpting it too. So
Yeah. And that'll be pretty dope to see where people take that because when you have easier accessibility like that, they're typically at least it seems to me that there's a higher jump in I don't want to say quality, but there's a faster jump to quality and some new innovation because people don't have to focus on this part on the actual process of the creation. They can just make it perfect the way they want it, no fuck ups, hopefully, and you know print it out exactly the way it looks without little with little to no risk.
yeah, I mean, it's same thing goes to it's easier to type now than it would be on a typewriter. So there's a lot more print text than ever before.
Yep.
So
Yep. Whenever you have innovation like that, there's usually a lot of other innovations that come along with it.
complement one another nicely.
Yeah. So it'll be exciting to see what people do with that. Now, talking about that actually, because this reminds me of something I saw a while back. There's this app on the phone. I don't know what it's called, and I think it's not released yet. I think it's like just being tested, whatever the case is. I don't know too much of it. I wish I knew more, but there's an app on the phone where you can project an image onto a wall and then just trace it on the wall
Hmm.
from the phone. What's your feelings on stuff like that? Because it doesn't even have to be your image. You can just do it with anything.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's gonna make mural work a lot easier, and I think you know, they already use blocking and whatnot to expedite transferring an image to a wall, but if you're able to have a projector that's strong enough to actually get you your outline there, I think we're going to have far more intricate murals and whatnot just because you can get to the nitty gritty and the fine details that much faster. It's rare that you see a mural that something looks skewed on it, but even still, you're going to have an easier consistency on that front too, just because you now can make sure that everything's perfectly aligned and whatnot. So I hope it helps to transcend the art and get more art and mural out there. And I think if there's more art, we're going to live in a brighter world. So why not pursue that a little heavier and have these tools to help get that actually out into signs or buildings and whatnot.
That's some motivational shit you just said there. If we have more art, we're gonna live in a brighter world.
Yeah, we live in such a dull world. We should be happier. I don't know.
So I was about to get into some real talk, man. He's about to give us a lesson.
Societal critiques from small art conversations.
Damn.
I don't know. I just like anytime you see like the before and after of a big time mural, it's like, yeah, that building does look 1,000 times better. Like,
Yeah.
gray brick is only so appeasing. Like, no one can really agree to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree, but, not everybody likes art, apparently.
Yeah, true. So I can't tell you what to put on there, but
But shit, hey, man, if more people are open to it, that's awesome,
yeah, definitely.
because I like it.
Easier to get to. Hopefully, we find some of the artists that are stuck inside of people that don't think they can make art.
And then that right there's another thing, is, like, and this isn't, like, directly related, but it kind of branched into it, self-doubt in arts, for newer artists, more specifically. I mean, I know more advanced artists have the same thing, but as far as more new artists that want to get into putting their artwork out there and shit like that, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the internet helps with that because, for myself, you have a lot of anonymity when you're posting online. You can make a random profile, make some drawings, put it up there, and no one has to know who you are. And it's not that like by any means people are ashamed or embarrassed, but if that is a deterrent, now there's a cloak that you can easily have, and you can share it with whoever you want. So I think that, makes a barrier to entry a lot less. And, oftentimes that barrier to get started is what holds so many people back. So I think the internet provides a really good scope for that for a lot of people. And then once you do have the confidence, bringing it out into real world stuff and whatnot, hopefully suits you well. I don't know if you feel more confident because you post stuff online or not, but
no, I've always been like pretty. I don't know how to put this. I've always been very driven towards my goals and whatnot, and very much had the blinders on to the point where there was no time to be self-conscious about like posting my art or anything like that.
Gotcha.
So it was always just like, this is what I need to do, and I'm gonna do it even if people don't necessarily like it. So I mean, granted, you always get the with any time spent on the internet, you always get the hate and all that stuff, and sometimes it makes you take a step back and go, all right, am I really fucking up here, or is there like any legitimacy to what they're saying, or is this all just smoke?
Definitely, yeah.
So there's always that, but overall, like before, when I first started posting online, it was much more a matter of, I have a goal that I really want to achieve. I don't have the time to be self-conscious about that. Like, I need to make this work.
Right. Yeah, and hopefully the comments and the fear on that front isn't too much to deter people once they do start posting stuff.
Yeah,
'Cause
it'd be a shame if it was.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is for some people. Obviously, we stuck around, or we like people to hate on us. I don't know which it is.
That SIVE is a one of those, what do they call them, BDSM people?
Yeah, right.
He likes to
I enjoy getting beat up. You got me.
Yep.
The toy comments after 10 years have finally gotten through my skin.
Holy shit, has it been 10 years?
Not quite. Getting close, though.
It's close enough to say 10 years.
Yeah, maybe a year or two off.
It's close enough. Like, if you were having a conversation with some random person, they go, oh, like, what are you doing? You're like, oh, yeah, YouTube videos and shit. Been doing it for 10 years. Nobody would fault you for saying that.
No. They might be concerned at why I'm still making them after 10 years. Cause so you post that many cat videos, or what really goes on that corner of the internet?
Damn, that's it. Guys, SIVE just gave me my new idea. I'm making cat videos from now on. Cat videos while I'm in a gimp suit.
Yeah.
That probably would do well, because it's the fucking internet.
Yes. Somebody would find a reason to keep reposting it.
Yep.
Are you a big reposter, or do you consume and move on?
I consume and move on for the most part, because I don't know enough about technology in order to know how that stuff works. Yeah, no
that's
joke.
your barrier to entry, then.
It really is. Like I remember I liked a video very recently, and then I went to my Twitter and I saw the same video, and I was like, who the fuck hacked my Twitter and put the video on? And then I realized, oh shit, my two profiles are connected, and I'm a dumbass. I'm telling you, I don't know shit about technology. It's kind of fucking embarrassing for this day and age.
Oh, that works. Well, you're obviously still managing to get content on the internet, so you're ahead of the game on many fronts.
So if you look at my YouTube history, it's just how to upload to YouTube tutorials,
how to stream to Twitch.
Right. Pretty much.
Yeah, I definitely pass along and might send them to friends or something that I think it might have extra relevance to, but it's rare I start resharing stuff online, which maybe I should do a little better job at seeing as I got enjoyment out of it. Maybe someone else might too.
All right. And you also figure, because we do produce content in some way, we are making our own community. It might be worth, in order to be part of a community of some kind as well, to kind of learn how to cultivate our own community.
For sure.
So
yeah, we definitely can't ride alone. My art's not that good. I don't think I'll be talked about in history books for that reason. So
right. Like, I'm not one of those artists. I'm gonna post, a picture of my painting, and like, I don't know, Huffington Post is gonna be like, "Look at this amazing artist."
Sells for
It's like,
$2
okay,
billion dollars.
oh my god, imagine, fuck that. Oh my goodness, for that kind of money, there was a lot I would do.
Make some more art, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. If somebody's paying me $2 billion to make art, yeah, I'll paint whatever you want.
Now you just sound like a sellout, man. I don't know if you can keep this going.
To me, because I mean that's something I've heard quite a bit, is the whole sellout thing. And it's like, all right, you're calling me a sellout, but yet you're the one who gave up on your dreams for art and instead decided to get a real job and not even bother to try for your art so that you can make money. Good job.
You're right. I am selling my art.
It's like, sorry for wanting to put food on the table with my art. Apologies.
That was a really trendy kind of tagline for a while. I think it has somewhat fallen off.
Yeah, I haven't been called a sellout, and I probably will now that I've said it. But
we'll resurface it once again.
Yep, yep. Like, I remember this guy on Facebook years ago. He was like, "Oh, can you do, this? Can you do my name like this? It was his like clan for Call of Duty or some shit." And I was like, "Yeah, I could totally do that for you, and it's gonna be about this much money." And he goes, "Wait, it's not free?" I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, my friend was right. You're a sellout." And I was like, "A real artist would do it for free." I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay."
You're right. I'll be under a bridge in a week. Like,
yep. Like, all right.
I've been trying to work on a little bit of a new tag, but to no avail has anything really stuck.
Damn. Yeah. Like, I don't.
It's always a slow process.
I don't get time nowadays to really, like, just practice random names and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And at the point I'm at now, I mean, granted, you're always improving and stuff, but for most graffiti artists, once they find like an actual solid tag, they'll usually keep that. And I feel like that's the point.
Yeah.
Right now, I got 10 to 15 hand styles, and just cycle them out.
Enough to work with.
Some were passed down, and some I made.
Now, is that any type of special clay, or is it just pretty general modeling clay?
Oh, I think this is like the pretty much basic starter sort of clay, to my knowledge anyway. It's super sculpty. And
because it looks a little pinker than, but I guess the stuff I had used in the past was more like pottery oriented.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about sculpting. I know you can throw this in an oven.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like real beginner friendly. Like, a lot of beginning sculptors start with this. So I was like, all right, I'll pick it up. And then I found out about this other sculpting clay called Monster clay. So I want to try that out because it's apparently a lot, depending on the grade you get, it's a lot thicker and stiffer. So it's a little more durable and
less wires.
What?
Less wires.
Yeah, less wires, and not only that, but like, some of the monster clay, I'm not sure the specifics, but some of them you don't have to bake, and you can just cast it right there, and then you can melt the monster clay back down in order to reuse it for something else.
Now, that's pretty fresh.
Yeah, so I'd like to get into that because that's a lot more cost effective.
All about that.
Yeah. try to save a buck as much as possible.
Always seems to find a way to come back out, but
Yep. Like going to the art store and spending $80 when you intended to spend 20.
did you at least get some worthwhile stuff?
Oh yeah, I bought two 30 by 40 canvases,
Solid.
and
Nice big guys.
yeah, so those will be for two hopefully new hyper realistic paintings. One featuring graffiti, and I bought a tube of paints along with candy.
He always gets you at the cash register with.
Yep. I saw the gummy octopus and I was like, "Give me that shit, please."
I was just in Staples today, and they had probably more food up there than they did auxiliary cables, which was what I was looking for. I don't need pistachios, but can I come here for the electronics that you allegedly sell?
Rumor has it you sell electronics in this store.
Yes, not so much.
Ain't that some shit? I wonder how much money they make from that shit.
Oh, it's got to be so much. I mean, the markup on those is insane.
I wouldn't know. I have no idea.
Well, I mean, you just think about it. If you buy it wholesale, it's got to be half the price.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, wholesale anything else is half the price, and it's food that doesn't go bad for 2 years. Like, the candy just sits there.
Oh no, man! Don't make me think about that
Well,
shit. Because now I'm gonna start being like,
It's not going to go bad. You're fine.
no, like a rat dragged his balls on the fucking candy.
I actually did see some Sour Patch Kids with half open still hanging on the shelf, too. Either someone got hungry or it's that exact thing.
Right, like I've definitely gone to corner stores where there were bags just opened, just sitting on the shelf, and I'm like, you know what? Let's not think too hard about why that's the way.
I really do still want them.
Yep. I haven't scrolled up to see because like my chat for whatever reason is like a good 10 foot below the actual stream.
Oh, so you get
So I
the
haven't scrolled
extra
up.
delayed. If you care to take a break, do you want to take on a request together and see?
Oh sure,
Do a
let's
little-
go for it.
Do a little
Let-
battle.
Let's fucking totally shit the bed and do some low quality hairstyles. I'm speaking for myself here
Let's see. Mine probably won't be much better.
because as I previously said, I don't get the time to really practice hairstyles much these days, or practice other people's for that matter, which I feel like would be an awesome thing to do. I know Green Ranger does quite a bit of that.
Yeah, I actually, so it slipped my mind for the longest time, and then I finally said, all right, my next review video that I film, I'm just going to do everybody else's names instead of SIVE 100 times. So I'm waiting on a new product to come in to make that happen. But it's a great time and place to practice myself and, throw some support back at people.
Yeah, and the video I have coming out tomorrow, it's mind you, you're gonna hear me say this a lot, but I'm still rusty with cans and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, I did a wild style hybrid piece, and it's not my name. It's Gren's name. I mean, it's similar, but it's Gren's name.
There you go.
So, doing other people's names is always fun. Just give me a second to pack up all this.
You've got time, so we'll wait till we're looking for a little donation to see if someone wants to get their name done. Hopefully, we'll battle it out and see who wins, or have a little vote for you guys. So if you're serious about having a request, see the banner at the bottom. Tried this last time, it worked out pretty well. I was doing some name requests and sending out some sticker packs.
Word. I'm gonna try calligraphy pen.
Oh, risky business. I like it.
Yeah, so it's something I want to get better at, and like I suck at calligraphy now. By no means will I be doing calligraphy, but
So is that
I
a
want the
full
chisel.
fountain tip, or is that a just a regular nib that's square?
It's a full fountain tip.
Wow.
It's pretty nice. I personally like it. I suck with it, but I like it.
Yeah, have you seen those pretty much whole Instagram pages that are dedicated to calligraphy, kind of type in text, and some of the stuff that they come up with on there just is so crisp.
Yeah, tell you what, I wish I had that capability.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole career path at that point. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like sign making and whatnot is such a a slow learning process and has so many more rules than graffiti.
Oh, hell yeah. And it's so specific too. So if like you fuck up in the slightest way possible, you gotta start over.
Yeah, it's the worst straight letter ever.
I feel like this is actually gonna be too small, so I'm gonna grab a blue prism marker because it's here.
I can always zoom in on your video if you prefer.
Oh, we'll be fine with this. Yeah. All right. There you go. Smiley faces for days. Best graffiti artist in the world.
Watch out.
Coming to a town near you, man. I'm
I'm gonna bomb
gonna
over
start hitting
everything.
up. I'm gonna have the fucking Vandal squad on me
Yeah.
any minute now.
I've tried to keep up with my cursive a little bit, but even still, that like definitely haven't gotten the solid calligraphy style down for it either.
So I've tried very hard to keep my hand styles off the internet for years. So if you don't mind, I'm not going to be doing my name. Instead, I'm going to piggyback and do your name
That's
because
fine. I always like to try to do the I as an underline and then end up never leaving enough room to underline the top or put a line on the top to not cross out my S.
I remember way back when I very first started graffiti, I had some, I forget how it goes. I had some dumb ass hand style where I very deliberately had a line that I thought was a cool, crazy extension, but it went throughout the entire name.
Just
And it just
stroke
looked
through.
like busted up every time.
That's
It was the
great.
actual worst.
One of those things probably someone told you it looked alright and you just ran with it and loved it so much.
Oh yeah, the entire crew was like, "Oh man, that's sick, man." I was just like, "Yeah, I'm the best." Script is fun too. I actually forgot how to write cursive, and I had a friend teach me.
Damn. I was never
Really?
taught uppercase cursive in grade school.
Really? That's ass backwards.
So, my teacher that year had somewhat of a mental episode of sorts. It's with like marriage fell apart or something, and just it all came out as he was a third grade teacher, and we never quite got to cursive in our alphabets. So,
Damn,
was
did he like just
slightly
quit or something?
overlooked? I don't know. He was a strange guy to begin with, and then I guess that lesson never got kind of hashed out at the end of the year.
Damn, that's it. He walked in on his wife having sex with like his best friend or some shit.
Yeah, it had to have been pretty serious if your teaching career of third graders who don't know too much about learning, but remember that they were never taught something that pretty important.
You know what's funny is I had a third grade teacher who just randomly left one like throughout half the year of teaching us. She just was gone, never came back.
Dipped out.
Came to find out that apparently there was a dead rat in one of the rooms in the school,
Okay.
and I guess she made like I say made contact like she's a fucking alien. But I guess she like came in contact with it somehow and got really fucking sick
Damn.
and was just fucking out for the rest of the year. And I was like, oh, that's what happened to her.
That's some workers' comp right there.
You know what? Didn't think about it. That's the first thing SIVE go to. He's like,
She's playing the system. She wasn't actually sick.
right? She living it up, watching like I don't know, fucking TV at home and shit, just hanging out, chilling.
I hope she was all right. But
I
still.
mean, no, she ended up coming back at some point, like the following year. Maybe she just didn't like us.
Yeah, that too. You were in the class L.
Yeah. Oh, I was an atrocious student. Are you kidding me? I threw a fucking telephone at one teacher, and I think it was a seat at another teacher.
Wow.
I was a little asshole, for sure.
I can't say that I was too wound up in class. Tried to get most of it out on the playground.
SIVE out there just like punching random kids.
Rocks, just
Right.
throwing rocks all day long.
It's like, give me your lunch money.
I do like that V a lot. Reminds me of some like Lord of the Rings, very scriptic, like almost Celtic.
Which one?
The red.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying not to shit the bed. My baseline on this one's a little fucked. My E could have been a little lower, but
Don't even know where the baseline should be, so.
there you go. Then we'll just say I did it right. We'll just try and pass that one as correct. I'm like, yeah, no, that's totally fine. So it's been so long from since like I've sat down and just did hand styles.
Were you one to just fill 25 pages in an afternoon?
Oh, Demmer made us.
Yeah, that was
Like-
the only way I ever got any better, was just sitting there and feeding into it.
Yeah, he would legit be like, here's a black book. You're gonna fill all of it. And I want to see perfectly done hand styles. And we're just like, shit.
Are you sure?
Right? Is this come back like 20 minutes later? Were you serious? He's like, yep. Then we run back to him and we'd be like, is this toy? And he'd be like, yes. Stop fucking asking. You suck
You
still.
haven't gotten any better.
Right? Like this S is atrocious. Let me stop there.
I find your GR combo is hard to not, overcompensate or run into each other.
As far as like hand styles?
Yeah, because I feel like I have to either separate the R and the G like quite drastically, or not have much overlap. Well, leading to not much overlap, and then it gets to being, a really linear kind of setup.
Yeah. Speaking from experience, G's and R's, they're a bit of a bitch.
Oh, you wouldn't say.
Gotta say, I hate the letter combination, that fucking G, R, I, and M. Whoever's got that name, jeez. Fucked up.
Maybe I'll stick with the lowercase g.
No, I'm not streaming on Twitch. I'm not streaming anywhere. I thought about it. I thought about streaming on Twitch. I didn't do it. Fucking squaw. You're pretty much, you're always shitting on me. Squaw's good people. Squaw's awesome. forgot. I used to do this 1G, and I forgot how the hell it went. And it's probably not a good idea that I'm using this pen that I'm completely unfamiliar with, but it's like a typical calligraphy G. I'm just not good at it, which is why I didn't really ever use it. I had one hand style back in, a while ago that the hand style actually turned into a vagina. Like
no better way to do it.
like the letters made a vagina, and I was like, you know what? I like that shit. Trying to remember some that were passed down, and I can't because I fucking don't keep up with all of them.
Well, we got a $2 donation. Not quite the $10 request, but we'll go for a moolah tag. MULA. If you want to hit that up, we'll see once you're done with that guy.
Okay. All right, let me just write up there
so you don't forget it. Oh, dude, sick tag. Oh, that's sweet.
That's it, man. Be sure to fucking use that all the time. All right, MULA. I'm gonna try and go for it here on the bottom. I'm not sure how much. I should probably use a different marker at this point. You know what? Let's do it up there.
Definitely a very linear name. The LA combo, I always just feel obligated to cross the A with the L. I always just second guess myself and it turns out like crap.
I want to try that with the actual normal nib as opposed to something that I'm completely unfamiliar with. So let's go. I'm sorry if you can't see this too well because it's blue on blue. Apologies on that. Not the smartest idea on my part, but this page is gonna look like fucking put on some 3D glasses and you'll be in for a show.
Oh, it already does.
Like.
I love it.
Hopefully that's visible. Hopefully that's something you guys can make out.
I like the U. I like the back half being larger than the front half.
That was always like my fallback for U because I never liked, it's personal preference, but I never liked the left half of the U being larger than the right half. Let's see. I'm gonna do the same one again just so that's easier to see. If I can remember how the fuck I did it, because I already forgot. something along those lines.
Solid.
Damn, I like that one on the top right.
This guy tried to do like a triangle with the M and the A.
Yeah, I like how the U extends beneath. Oh wait, I'm sorry, not the U, the L. Word up. That's some sick nasty shit. I'm in love with that M on the top right and the top left.
Thank you.
That shit is dope. Oh, you got a $5 donation.
Now we gotta do woke. Well, as
Ah,
long as we
shit.
stay woke, we'll be good.
What's happening here? We're doing people's names when I believe they get a certain amount of donation. Is that right?
Correct. Ask for $10, but since we're just tagging, we can see what people are willing to throw our way.
Squad Go-Go's here? Don't get me excited. Alright, woke. Here we go. Well, nothing that I want. Woke is an interesting name, isn't it? That'd be. Hold up. From here, you can either go with a capital or a lowercase e in order to balance. I'm gonna go with the lowercase.
I tried and just failed miserably. Hopefully yours is a little better.
You could kick this out, but I'm gonna opt for some parentheses and a fucking star because I don't know. Why not? I want to try this with a capital E as well. Let's go down. Let's go down here. Oh, shit. Let's do it this way. There you go. You want them to battle with deaths, but you don't have $10. VCR, how you doing, man? How you doing? I got excited for a second. You live in Texas. I love Texas football. Huh. I'll tell you what. If I played football, my ass would be dead. I'm too petite for that shit.
Yeah, I can't say football's ever been a calling of mine either.
Man, I did martial arts for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I mean, I've always loved. There was a point where I wanted to become a professional boxer, and as you might notice, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I could say you changed paths a little.
Yeah, well, like fighting was my sport. Like I loved that shit. But yeah, martial arts. Fucking, I remember I was in, the martial arts school, the karate school, and this at the time I was real young. I was like in first grade, and this 20-year-old man picks me up, fucking flips me upside down, and slams my face into the floor.
You learned something that day.
Yep, I got kicked out that day because I told him I was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I'm like, I mean, I'm not gonna kill him. Obviously, he's a trained martial artist. He's like a black belt, and I'm in the first grade. I'm not doing shit. I was like, damn, I shouldn't have been kicked out for that. But it was funny looking back on it.
Definitely.
I wonder if this E would look better on that hand style. Oh. There you go, woke. Damn, holy shit. I'm over here doing like simple ass fucking tags.
I got warmed up. I'm sorry. The
I
first
look
few,
over and Sive's fucking tearing it apart with some.
first few were not the same. I got in the mode. I like this one a lot. I got a.
See that shit? Damn.
Sometimes you get the first letter right and then the rest follow suit.
Well, it's obvious I am not woke. I am not fucking. I did not transcend like Sive did.
Maybe I just work too much and have a lot of time to doodle. Alrighty, man. Well, I think I gotta get to bed here. Got an early morning tomorrow, but definitely enjoyed you coming out tonight.
Dude, not a problem. Always a pleasure. You are definitely like one of my favorite, just favorite, hands down person to work with here on.
I try to make it easy. I try not to bug you too often, so.
Oh, I never mind, man. I'm always down.
Yeah, definitely shout out your stuff. Although I'm pretty sure everybody knows who you are.
Yeah. So for those of you guys who aren't familiar, John Grimm. I do hyperrealistic oil painting over on YouTube, as well as, graffiti every now and again. Tomorrow I'll be coming out with a wild style wall, but I am rusty as fuck. I'm going to let you know right now. But we stream 5 days a week. Is it? Yeah, 5 days a week over on Twitch. I got the info over on Twitch, for instance, twitch.tv/John Grimm. And we play video games on Friday over on Twitch.
Awesome. I think I hit up all your social medias besides Twitch in the description.
Oh, it's
but I'll
all
be
fine,
sure to add that in for everybody else to go check that out. Thanks to everybody that came out, and try to make this happen some other time as well. I enjoyed it enough to maybe get the itch to do more live streams.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you very much for having me,
Yeah,
man.
for sure.